moving away from the water into high ground right now.
Yeah, so we just went through something similar to this about 2 weeks ago with that earthquake south of Sam Point. Is there a difference with this warning? Should Alaskans react any differently?
Absolutely. This is a much stronger earthquake. This is an 8.7 now. We've confirmed that with the USGS and modeled that this is a thrust earthquake. So unlike the earthquake that we saw a couple weeks ago close to Alaska that moved a little bit kind of like this, but also up at the same time, this earthquake is primarily giving us that upward motion. And that's what we need to get a significant tsunami moving across the ocean of the Pacific. So that's why this is a warning instead of an advisory for the Aleutians. And this is why we put the U.S. West Coast and a large chunk of South Central and Southeast Alaska also into a watch.
And so just quickly again, I know you mentioned it already once, but the advisory and watches, those do extend down in Southeast Alaska and of course, even into the lower 48. When could we expect more information? When point are we going to start seeing impacts to those buoys?
Right. So right now, the team is working on getting that forecast together. We're getting aftershocks right now, which are changing the event status across the coastline. And so as all of this information is put into our forecast models and filtered out to make sure that we're looking at the right signals from the tsunami, we will update those messages there. You'll see that here through your weathercast, of course, and then our official messages on tsunami.gov. So stay tuned for more. This is an event that'll probably take us through the rest of the evening at least.
And that was Dave Schneider with the Tsunami Warning Center. We spoke with Dave during our 5 o'clock news. Now, we are streaming on a number of different sources, welcoming those people that have now just joined us on Facebook and on YouTube. We're also live on our streaming platforms, which you get if you have our alerts. And so we will continue starting at 6 o'clock. We'll continue streaming on Facebook and YouTube, but we will go away to our news. We're going to stream the first part of our news with any updates on that, and then we will continue coverage here on Facebook. So please stay with us there. Joining me now, sorry to interrupt, or to ignore you for a second, is Georgina Fernandez, and you have just spoken with people who are in the path of this.
Yeah, I was just speaking with the city manager over in Adak. You know, what surprised me is he's pretty calm. He was telling me, you know, we're Alaskans, we are strong, but right now they have all folks staying at the Bering Hill Chapel, which is one of the higher points in Adak. We're going to see if that tsunami wave hits. Right now they're predicting it's going to be around 5 feet. So not a big concern right now for them, but they say if that wave is bigger, that's when we can start seeing, you know, damages hitting those homes there, those neighborhoods, as well as the port, and really their east runway that's right by the water. So that's a big area of concern right now, especially we see larger waves to kind of hitting them back and forth. So right now, just waiting, kind of see what happens.
Well, I know that we've been watching what the forecast times and the possibility of some of the sizes of those warnings. I'm going to bring this up now. This might change because we are actively updating information there. So I'm going to prop this up, and we'll see how quickly it stays there. But for Shemya, we've got about 3 to 5 to 5.6 feet possible, and then Adak, as we were just discussing, it is expected to have hit just a few minutes ago about 1.3 feet to 2.5 feet, but could be higher in those areas. And you said that their runway is very close to the actual shoreline.
Yeah, and I do want to add on, the city manager was telling me how they just had a practice tsunami warning last Friday to prepare in case something like this ever happens. And that is what we're hearing right now from folks in these emergency departments, is to listen to local authorities and just be prepared. You never know if we can see these waves hit much larger than they're predicted.
Well, and if you caught that interview from and we will hear from the part of the Adak interview coming up tonight at our 6 o'clock news here in just about 10 minutes. And so I'm going to actually let you go because you have to be on the air and introduce that interview. So Georgina is going to jump away, and we're going to continue to kind of follow this as we can. Now, the good news is, if you're just joining us, there was a watch, a tsunami watch that extended from the areas around Kodiak through parts of South Central all the way down to Southeast. Now those have expired, and they've actually withdrawn that watch, and the things remaining are a tsunami warning for areas of the Western Aleutian, and also for a tsunami advisory for the Eastern Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. Please hold on just a moment. I'm trying to find a source so I can show you some of that information, and we can actually give you an idea of what this looks like, where we're seeing those advisories. I think I'm communicating with Jackie Purcell, so I appreciate your patience. We do have 2 different weather computers, and I believe that I need to be up on the other weather computer, and we'll see if we can bring that up. Okay, there's what we're talking about. Tsunami warning for the areas around from Adak out to Attu, and then we do have that tsunami advisory in place for the areas of the eastern Aleutians. But if you look where it used to be a tsunami watch, that has now been withdrawn. That's good news. Anytime we can take away a warning or an advisory and downgrade it, that's good news. But we do still have the tsunami advisory for the areas of the eastern Aleutians and the areas for the Alaska Peninsula. And in these cases, we are expecting to see a chance of, again, not terribly strong waves that we saw earlier today, but they are seeing tsunami action. They have seen a tsunami with this system and with this earthquake that came through. It is an earthquake that was 8.7 in the Kamchatka Peninsula, southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula, actually in the water. It was a thrust kind of earthquake. So the city manager of Adak was saying they had a drill last Friday for tsunami warning. We also know that we had a similar situation, at least somewhat, about 10 days ago, where we had a tsunami warning for the areas along the Alaska Peninsula and parts of South Central as well. Now, in that case, it appeared that people did what they were supposed to, which is they heard the warnings, sirens, and they moved to higher ground. That's also what we're hearing from Adak, that they have moved to higher ground. And that's exactly what we want to happen, with the expectation that we could see a tsunami in these areas. We have seen a tsunami activity with this. That's according to the Tsunami Warning Center, that a tsunami has been generated, and we have those times that are coming up of when we could possibly see those. For the areas around Adak, that was a possibility of hitting just a few minutes ago, and then a possibility of a 1.3 to 2.5 foot wave. On Alaska, looking at less than a foot, and then St. Paul, because you are included in that tsunami warning area as well, 0.9 feet to 1.7 feet. Now, when you're talking about a warning, we are talking about areas inland being inundated with water. You want to move off of the water, off of the beach, away from harbors, marinas, shores. You want to also continue to stay alert to your local instructions, emergency officials. Those are the ones that call for evacuations. That's Dave Schneider from the Tsunami Warning Center was very clear about that as well, that we do see they are the ones that will call for a tsunami. And in this case, if you are a boat operator, as time and conditions permit, move your boat out into the sea of at least 180 feet. If you are at sea, do not enter shallow water, harbors, marinas. You want to avoid floating and submerged debris and strong currents. So don't go ashore to the shore to observe the tsunami. We've heard of people doing that. Please don't do that. And do not return to the coast until you have been cleared and been told by local emergency officials that it is safe to do so. We're continuing to monitor this. We do have that tsunami warning remaining in place for areas of the western Aleutians out to Attu Island. This includes the Pribilof Islands, and then areas of the eastern Aleutians all the way into the Alaska Peninsula. You are under a tsunami advisory. Now, a tsunami advisory means that we expect to see water on the coastal areas. So you still want to move away from the coast, but we're also not expecting the inland areas to be inundated with water. That's under a tsunami warning. As I said, those are what we see out to the Aleutian Islands, western Aleutians out toward Adak. So we're continuing to follow this. Here in just a few minutes, I believe we're going to go back to our live coverage on our television news broadcast, and I think we have another interview with Dave Schneider with more information coming up. I'm also going to check out, we've got one more little bit of information we're going to try and bring up here, some of those potential forecast times and arrival times. I've been talking about them, but here they are on the screen We have Shemya at a possibility of, it was earlier today, 3.0 to 5.3 feet or 5.6 feet. I've not heard yet if we have an actual buoy measurements in that area. Adak on watch, they said they have moved to higher ground and theirs impact was potentially at about 5:40 this afternoon, 1.3 to 2.5 feet. Unalaska, 6:45, less than a foot of a tsunami expected, but St. Paul, 6:55, 0.9 feet to 1.7 feet. And again, it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you are in the tsunami warning area, they are expecting that water to move inland and move into the inundation area. So we will continue to follow this. And we are expecting to go live here just a few moments. I'm going to step away for one moment. Stand by. Again, thank you for your patience. I am trying to do a number of different things over here. We are going to be going live here in just a few moments. Justina asking, when you say less than a foot, what does that mean? Are there going to be waves? They have measured a tsunami with this. Those are a type of wave, and it is a series of waves that come through. At this point, we don't have any height measurements for what those are, but this means past your normal tide, you will get this much of an additional wave pushing in. If it is a tsunami warning, which is what we have for areas of the western Aleutians and out to Attu, we do expect to see water being pushed inland, and so that is what a tsunami a warning is, as opposed to an advisory where it is expected to stay mainly along the coastal areas. So yes, that would be a 1 foot, that would be an increase of those waves, a 1 foot wave going through the area. So we're continuing to follow this, and we will bring up more information here in just a moment. We're going to go here live to our newscast with the latest information on Alaska's news source.
That's the concern, that we get a set of waves, a series of waves that build on each other. So that's kind of the concern that we have right now. That's why we're going to hang out here until we get the all clear from our excellent emergency management folks at the state, who jumped right on this and notified us like immediately.
Hearing there from the city manager of Adak, where they're also saying the city has cleared out because developing now tsunami alerts from Russia to southeast Alaska to Hawaii and beyond after a magnitude 8.7 earthquake off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia today.
Well, good evening. Team coverage tonight. Meteorologist Jackie Purcell standing by with details on the quake itself.
So we're going to start with reporter Georgina Fernandez, who's been speaking with Alaskans on the island of Adak. Georgina, people are taking shelter as we speak, correct? You're hearing now from the city manager of Adak.
That's right, Augusta and John. And I actually just got text a minute ago from the city manager who says he is fine. And folks right now are pretty calm as they're hunkered down at a safe place on one of the highest points in Adak, well above sea level, as they continue to be in that tsunami warning. And residents have moved to a shelter at the Chapel of Bering Hill, which we were given a tour back in May, where crews were in Adak.
They built right before they closed the base. That's the new church.
And they are all waiting at the church to see when the predicted 5-foot tsunami wave hits. Right now, he says people are not that concerned and are waiting to see what extent the wave will be The real concern, he says, is if the wave is larger than a series of them, that could cause issues to their active east side runway that sits right next to the beach, in addition to potentially causing damages to port and neighborhood flooding.
That's the concern, that we get a set of waves, series of waves that build on each other. So that's kind of the concern that we have right now. That's why we're going to hang out here until we get the all clear from our excellent emergency management folks at the state, who jumped right on this and notified us like immediately.
And John, the city manager, was telling me that they actually did a tsunami drill just last week, and they say they're Alaskans and they are tough.
And Georgina, good information there. What are Homeland Security and Emergency Management now saying about what folks should be doing to stay safe?
Well, we did just hear from Jerry Adak from Homeland Security and Emergency Management, but he says we don't know if an earthquake will cause a tsunami until those waves get to the coast. He says folks need to follow instructions from their local authority, just like folks are doing right now in Adak.
All right, Georgina Fernandez, thank you very much. And we turn now to Jackie Purcell, who is tracking minute-by-minute changes with this. Jackie.
Yeah, that earthquake was actually pretty far away from us in South Central, but the danger is not. And live with us tonight is NOAA Tsunami Warning Coordinator Dave Snyder. So first, Dave, let's talk about some of those areas that are impacted by this tsunami warning. We know there were a lot of people on high alert right now. So explain what they might be going through.
Sure thing. Areas in the western Aleutian Islands are still under a tsunami warning, all the way from Attu and just to the western end of the eastern Aleutian. So Adak and Adak are included in that as well. And St. Paul and St. George, you're under a tsunami warning. That means you could see water up on dry places on land right now. So if you're in any of those areas I just mentioned, you need to be following your local emergency management instructions, your city instructions, and moving to high ground. Follow their instructions carefully. An advisory continues for areas in the eastern Aleutians. That's from Nikolsky through Unalaska and Dutch Harbor and out towards Sandpoint and just east. Those areas we're not expecting water to get up onto dry land, but we may see impacts in bays and harbors there for a while. This is a really large earthquake, and these effects can continue for several hours and days, even after things have settled down for most of the ocean. Got some good news, though, for areas from about Sandpoint east to Kodiak into Cook Inlet. Homer and Seward up the Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, areas from Yakutat all the way through southeastern Alaska. There is no longer an alert status for you. The watch has been dropped. We're monitoring water levels closely there, but we're not expecting significant impacts to reach into that alert status. But south of the Panhandle, from Haida Gwaii, British Columbia, and south all the way to the California-Mexico border, we are under an advisory there for those regions, so we're still monitoring the U.S. West Coast and the lower 48. But for southwest Alaska, this is primarily a tsunami advisory event, again, from about Sandpoint west, and then for the central and western Aleutians, including Adak, Atka, and Attu and Shemya, all those areas there are under a warning at this moment.
Now, Dave, that part of the state did go through something similar a couple of weeks ago, an earthquake, a little bit smaller, but what's the difference between this current situation and that?
This is absolutely a much larger earthquake. We're getting new information from our partners at the USGS and the Alaska Earthquake Center telling us that this earthquake is anywhere from 8.7 to 8.8. It is also one of those earthquakes that is a thrust earthquake. That means it's lifted the entire water column upwards, and that creates a tsunami across the entire ocean column, not just a surf wave, a wind wave. It is considerably different, and it's traveled across the Northern Pacific about 500 to 600 miles per hour. The impact, of course, is at the coastline, and that's what we're watching for right now. We're seeing wave arrivals in some areas across the central and western Aleutians at this point, and the darts there that have measured the water telling us that we've seen a tsunami pass some of those western dart stations anywhere from 1 to about 3 feet in height, which is significant. We've confirmed a tsunami is moving now. We're also measuring that and forecasting that for the central and western Aleutians. So we'll continue to see this play out for the next several hours this evening and hope for the best there for our friends out there in the central and western Aleutians.
Now, you mentioned 1 to 3 feet. Is there a level that people get very worried about, Tsunami Warning Center officials?
Absolutely. Anything over a couple centimeters is a big deal. To put this in perspective with our last couple events there in the last 2 weeks or so, those measurements have been very small. This is considerably different. So this is a much, much larger earthquake. It is also the motion that creates the tsunami. Both of the recent events that we saw in the last couple weeks didn't have that type of motion under the water, and also didn't measure that type of water there at the DART station. So we know this is a much different event at this point.
All right, Dave Snyder with NOAA, thank you so much for joining us. And let's check out what he was talking about again. It was that earthquake, magnitude 8.8 now. That has been revised just a little bit upward. And that was after this afternoon. So, of course, those warning areas that we were talking about through the Aleutians under a warning. We also have an advisory for parts of the Alaska Peninsula. We will be monitoring this situation as we go through, but I'm not going to mention every one of these times, but you can see from Shemya to Adak, Unalaska, St. Paul, Sandpoint, Cold Bay, some of those forecast potential tsunami arrival times and some of those wave heights that are also associated with that potential. So this is what we want folks to know. Don't be complacent. Move out of the water area, off the beach, away from the coast. Take protective actions. In fact, we did see that that is definitely the case in Adak. People are taking this seriously, and we want you to continue to do that. Of course, you can see that the Aleutian chain is in such close proximity to that earthquake that it is vital that they use those warnings and take precaution. Now, before I send it back to the studio, the Division of Homeland Security as well as Emergency Management was talking about how you can stay safe in these situations. They want to emphasize that people in danger zones need to be on the lookout for evacuation notices.
We don't really know the impact an earthquake will have and if it will generate a tsunami until the tsunami waves actually start to arrive on coastal tidal gauges. And we want people to get to safety if their local community determines an evacuation is needed.
And in case you're able to grab emergency items, here's a quick overview of some of the things that are recommended for Go Kits. And this should be in an all easy to carry bag or backpack. Even in a convenient location, you'll want at least 1 gallon of water per day per person, along with 3 days worth. Also per person of non-perishable foods, along with any prescriptions and other meds you might need. Have copies of important documents such as identification and legal documents, maybe even in a digital form for convenience. Electronics wise, chargers, flashlights, batteries, and a radio are good to have. This is a short list. The full version is online at ready.gov. Augusta and John, back to you.
A lot of great information there, Jackie. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll be hearing more from experts throughout the evening as we figure out the actual impact of this earthquake and this expected possible wave.
Yep, more to come. A lot more here on Alaska's News Source tonight.
We'll be right back.
We are back here live, and we just heard from this gentleman during the opening block of our newscast, and that is Breck Craig, and we appreciate you joining us here. He is out in Adak. He is the city manager for Adak. So, Breck, I really appreciate you jumping on here and joining us. How's everything going out there? How's it look?
Well, first, thanks for having us on. I'm here with our most excellent Mike, and we're doing good out here. I want to give a shout out to the state emergency management office and the tsunami warning center. They let us know right away after that earthquake triggered, and we were able to get the tsunami siren activated, and we got everybody in town up at our evacuation center up on the hill at the Bering Hill Chapel, well in advance of any potential wave event. So we're really pleased with the response and the warnings we've gotten, and so far we really haven't seen any waves come in.
And that is good news. I know we said that according
You're
to
watching
Dave,
Alaska's News Source.
Seeing a possibility of
this is cool. A musician from Homer is making his debut on America's Got Talent.
But what are you most
RJ
concerned
Sportran
about?
spoke with him to learn how his love of music brought him to the lower 48 and a nationally televised stage.
I apologize there. I had the volume up. You're getting additional volume that you didn't want, and I apologize for that. Let me ask the question one more time. What, according to Dave, possibility of 1 to 3 foot waves in that area? What are you most concerned about in your area, in your little island?
Well, certainly the airport is at sea level, especially the east end of the active runway is right there at sea level, right next to the beach. There is a berm, but if the wave was big enough, it could wash onto the airport runway and close our active runway. So that's a concern. A number of our neighborhoods are right next to the beach as well. Fortunately, again, there is a pretty significant berm, that borders the beach. But if the wave was big enough, or there were, enough sets of waves that come in and build on each other, that's a concern as well.
So I understand from our boss here, because they met you when they were out there for their road trip and series, that you're fairly new at this job. Is this something that you've expected? How's it going being this being a new role for you?
Well, it's been an adventure, I would say. It's never a dull moment. Something that was kind of serendipitous is that we just had a tsunami siren test on Friday. So we tested the siren and let everybody know we were doing a test. So this time around it was for real. But it's a great community, and everybody really pulls together in times like this. And I think we got almost everybody up here. We took roll when we got up here at the church, and everybody in town showed up, and they heeded the warning siren, and they went and got. We had a couple of folks in town that are aren't able to drive, and they went and collected those folks, and everybody showed up. So as far as the Adak community goes, they get an A+.
Well, and this, as you said, I know that you spoke with Georgina. You guys, and Mike, you can jump in here at any point as well. That this isn't just a one short time event, that this could be extending for up to 15 hours in your area. What are the next steps? What do you guys do from here?
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, we're just going to wait to see what happens as time goes on, and then we'll increase our alert and have people evacuate, stay in evacuation mode.
Well, excellent. What else do you think that people need to know? You guys, it sounds like the community responded exactly as you would like them to in an event like this. And so how are you feeling overall? And then we can wrap up and you guys can go back to taking care of your people. But how are you feeling overall?
I'm feeling really good. This has been a wake-up call for us, though, definitely. We've got some work to do on our Tsunami Center, which is a wonderful church on the hill. But and we realize we probably need to get a little better at bringing some safety stuff up here, as part of the drill. So another interesting thing, we've actually got another safety drill scheduled for Friday. So we're going to probably incorporate some of the lessons learned today into that drill as well. You can never be too prepared, I don't think. We're just thankful that everybody's okay here and that this wasn't a more serious event.
Well, we're glad that everybody is okay as well. Of course, keep watch, and as you guys said, you'll just have to keep monitoring the situation. We really appreciate you jumping in and being willing to. I know when you're in the middle of stuff, it's not always convenient to jump on with the news, but it is really nice to hear from somebody and get your perspective for somebody that is actually on the ground there. So thank you guys very much. We're out in Adak Live. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. So we are continuing to monitor this situation. I'm trying to, we're getting more information as it is coming through. This is some of the potential, we're going to switch off that. I've got too many people working on different products here. But we are continuing to monitor this. At this point, the most recent update that we've had is the one that changed those that tsunami watch for areas in southeast all the way extending into areas around Kodiak. The coastline at one point was all under tsunami watch. Now that has been removed and we are under tsunami advisories and tsunami warnings. The tsunami warning, as we've just said, is continuing for areas around Adak, from Attu, in fact, from the central Aleutians to the western Aleutians, from Attu all the way through the central Aleutians, though still under a tsunami warning. We are under a tsunami advisory from the eastern Aleutians through the Alaska Peninsula, and we will continue to monitor that information and continuing to bring it the latest. I'm going to pause here for just a second so I can get a current map up, and I will be right back. Stay with us. Again, thank you for your patience. Again, I'm over here live by myself and trying to gather information throughout from various different sources. One of them, which of course is the Tsunami Warning Center, and this is the current map that they have up. You can see that that warning are those areas in bright red, and that extends not only for the central and western Aleutians, but also the Pribilof Islands. We want to make sure that you are included in that area. The areas in orange are under a tsunami advisory, and those areas include parts of the Aleutian Islands, and also that's probably the eastern Aleutians and the areas around the Alaska Peninsula. CR. Thank you again. This is the current map of what we have. The areas that we had been talking about earlier, so if you saw your name on a list earlier under a tsunami watch for areas from the northern portion of the Alaska Peninsula through Kodiak, south central, and down to southeast, you were under originally a tsunami watch. That is no longer the situation. Now we are under, that has been removed, but we are still under those tsunami advisories for those areas. So we want to be cautious, make sure everybody has done what they're supposed to do, which is, of course, if you hear those warnings, you hear the warning sirens, move to higher ground. We were just hearing from Adak about what it sounds like their community did exactly that, and they are at higher ground. We've not had an update recently. We are waiting to see what happens. This has not only been affecting Alaska, but it has also been affecting Japan. Their meteorological agency has issued a tsunami alert for the Pacific coast, and they had originally, like Alaska, had that as a tsunami advisory, and that has been upgraded to a tsunami warning. The agency has an advisory for up to 3 meters in that area. Now, again, that is for Japan, not only Alaska being impacted. There are still advisories down for areas of the Pacific coast of the lower 48 and down into Hawaii. This is a broad ranging event. This was a major earthquake, a major of 8.7. So we've definitely seen a large area of that has been impacted. Again, it was southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula, and that has extended all the way, the forecast to So we are looking at the current map of the tsunami warnings, talking a little bit about some of the largest earthquakes. Now this, maybe they have upgraded. It looks like they have upgraded to 8.8. That is one of the top 7 largest earthquakes worldwide. Of course, Alaska's earthquake, the 9.2, that was in 1964. That is the second largest earthquake recorded in the world. The largest in 1960, the Great Chilean earthquake, and that was 9.5. So this is within the top 10, which means it is a major earthquake, and it is a different kind of earthquake than we saw just a little bit ago, about 10 days ago, south of the Alaska Peninsula around Sand Point. That was a 7.3 earthquake. This is 8.8, and it was a different type of earthquake. We've talked to Dave Schneider earlier, and he explained that this was a thrust kind of earthquake, which means all of the force was pushing water up, and that means that it has the higher potential for tsunami. They have reported that they do see tsunami waves, and we've spoken of this before. We talked a lot about it during that previous event, that a tsunami is not just one wave. There's one image that you have from areas, from movies, what it looks like, but in truth, a tsunami is a series of waves, and a good possibility that like as we were talking with Breck out at Adak, that this event could last for 15 hours for them. In some cases, areas around Attu have the possibility, or Shemya have the possibility of this lasting for up to 36 hours. So these are long running events, particularly when they are this major. Looking very quickly at the tsunami forecast map, I will try and zoom in, but you can see those advisories extend all the way along the west coast of the lower 48 states, from the Alaska border. And then you see that advisory, that is the area in Alaska. And the areas of the Alaska Peninsula down to the central Aleutians, and then from there extending out to the western Aleutians and including the Pribilof Islands. All of those areas are included in those tsunami warnings. Continuing to update that to see if we get any newer information. Hawaii also included in that. If you have not seen that, Hawaii is under a tsunami warning as well coming through. So we're just seeing continued possible impacts from this, extending from California all the way to the Aleutian Islands. Now, this is a wave that, as we've seen, could possibly move across the Alaska Peninsula. So we will continue to track that. We'll be back here in just a moment. going back and forth trying to look at a bunch of different sources for information, what we can bring in with the very latest of that information. We are still under that tsunami warning out toward western Alaska. We are expecting the possible arrival times for some of the areas like around Unalaska about 7:45, I believe, tonight, but that is supposed to be less than a foot. Could see up to 1.7 feet of an increased wave for the areas around St. Paul. So we're continuing to monitor this situation. I'm just going to jump here and see if I can get some of the latest information. So I'll bring that back up. These are some of the largest earthquakes worldwide. We're also trying to get information. One of the reasons I was pausing is we're trying to get information about Hawaii. The Tsunami Warning Center has a tsunami alert in place for Hawaii as well as for those areas around the Aleutian Islands. Again, major event. This is moving across the Pacific Ocean with the possibility of impacting Hawaii as well. That would be about 9:17 Alaska time, 7:17 in Hawaiian Standard Time. So we're continuing to watch for that. They said that the warning alarms first sounded at 3:23, and they listed the arrival time again just a little bit after 7 o'clock for Hawaii Standard Time in Alaska. That would be at about 9:17. So we're monitoring that. We've got reports that Japan has the possibility of being impacted. Of course, areas around Russia, our Aleutian Islands and Alaska Peninsula, also the possible impacts of that area. This was where the earthquake was today, and you can see the size of that earthquake. That's not only the color indicates how recent it was, the size indicates where it how big it was, and as you can see, it is at an 8.8. We're continuing to monitor what is going on in Southwest Alaska, still under tsunami warnings and tsunami advisories for areas along the Aleutian Islands and Alaska Peninsula. So this is Hawaii News Now. They are, of course, continuing their coverage as well. And we will continue to break in here as we get more information about what's going on in the areas around Alaska.
After the tsunami hit areas of Japan and also parts of Russia, the first effects following this 8.7 magnitude quake. Drew Davis has a closer look at the quake itself and the ensuing tsunami that has been generated. Drew.
Mark, Ben, of course, we've been talking a lot about the potential for the entire column of water to be moving across the Pacific Ocean. I want to talk about what's causing this compared to where we actually had the tsunami watch about a week ago. Last week's earthquake, the fault movement, was called a strike slip. It's where both of the tectonic plates near Russia were moving parallel and away from each other, causing the earthquake that we saw, but it wasn't enough to displace all of the water and create a large tsunami. However, what's possible with this earthquake, this may be a major thrust movement, obviously moving up a tectonic plate, displacing all of that water, and that's very, very common over the plate interface that's right near Russia. Last week's earthquake, where we had the tsunami watch, was actually atypical. It was a strike slip, and now we don't have confirmation just yet, but this is potential that it was a major thrust earthquake. Of course, let's take a look at the details out there. We've got a magnitude 8.8. Giving you a recap, we had an 8.0 magnitude earthquake issued around 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. That was upgraded around 20 minutes later to an 8.7. It has now been upgraded again to an 8.8, nearly a 9 on the Richter scale. Very, very strong. We've got a tsunami warning across the entirety of the island chain. Every area that you see right here in red is under that tsunami warning. Now is the time to take action. Again, move away from the coastal areas. If you're in a building, move at least 4 or 5 stories up to get as far away from sea level as possible. And of course, make sure that you're making preparations now. The earliest potential arrival of the tsunami over in Honolulu was predicted to be 7:10 and potentially 7:17 for other parts of the state. A closer look again at the tsunami energy. We have this fault line. Earth's plates are rubbing together, creating that underwater earthquake. And again, it's displacing this vertical push of seawater, and that's what moves closer to the shore, and it gets taller. That column of air here, a column of water here, gets pushed up, and that's what makes these waves so tall. It spreads into shallower waters, and it grows in height. That's why it's so damaging. Again, like we've been mentioning, it's possible that this tsunami, when it arrives around 7 p.m., could be arriving around high tide for some of the states. So around 7 p.m., we could be seeing 0.1 to 0.3 meters, potentially even up to 1 to 2 meters around 8 p.m. This is tsunami surges of energy. Again, this is unpredictable, strong currents. We're watching this very, very closely to see how this evolves. This is the time to take action. This is the time to be prepared right now. Just a deeper look at the magnitudes out there. Again, this is an 8.8. We typically see an 8 around once per year. So we see a large earthquake like this around once per year. A 9 once every 10 years. So this could be close to that, 1 every 10 years. And of course, we are under a tsunami warning. Now is the time to take action. That was a closer look at what's going on. Let's send it back to Mark and Ben.
All right, thanks very much, Drew. Of course, we have had some areas that are starting to back up. We're having reports of Alameda Boulevard backing up over from Waikiki as people try to leave. But once again, you should do what your hotel does if you are visiting. You do not have to leave the hotel if you're in a high-rise. If you are, go up to the 4th or higher floor. It's what is called a vertical evacuation. And so don't tie up traffic that way if you don't need to leave, especially if you're a visitor and you're in a high rise. You should be safe on the 4th floor above, but do not go to the beach because the Department of Land and Natural Resources has had officers that we've seen earlier this afternoon trying to get people away from the water. Yes, it's a couple of hours beforehand, but they don't want to take any chances as far as anyone not having heard of the alert or something like that. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes people will not be getting the alerts on their phones like we had at 4:10. So
it's happened several times already where the alerts have gone off on our phones on air. The first official siren came down at 4:10. There will be another one at 5:10, at 6:10. Once again, all leading up to the anticipated first arrival of the effects from this 8.7 magnitude quake. We are getting videos sent into our newsroom from across the state. We want to play something and give you a look at what the scene on Maui when the sirens came down. Again, this is not a live siren. This is when the siren occurred earlier this afternoon.
And I am jumping Jess in here very quickly, just so we can go over a little bit more of the Alaska information. We're going to go back to the coverage from Hawaii here in just a few minutes, but I did want to go over it again for the Alaskans that are impacted. Thank you so much. It was an 8.8 that has been upgraded now from the 8.7 that it originally was. Depth of only 13 miles, and a very similar situation when we had that earthquake around Sandpoint, in that it was not very deep. It was only about 12 miles deep. So these are quite shallow earthquakes. And we heard from Dave Schneider earlier today from the Tsunami Warning Center that this one that we're seeing today is a different type of earthquake than what we saw about 10 days ago south of Sandpoint. In this case, it was a thrust earthquake. So all of that force, all of that water being pushed up. And so that is the direction of the force. The one that was around Sandpoint had more of a split thrust. It was not only had some upward thrust, but also side to side. So that meant it didn't quite have the same force. This is a much larger earthquake and a different kind of earthquake. So we do have reports that we have actually seen tsunamis from this impacting Japan, impacting the Kamchatka Peninsula, possibility of impacting areas of southwest Alaska, particularly the Aleutians. So looking at our where we're expecting the possibility, this is where we see that tsunami warning. Also need to include, because it's just a little bit out of the picture, we want to include the areas around the Pribilof Islands. That is also being included in that area. So areas around Shemya, possibility of a 3-foot to 5.6-foot wave. Adak, 1.3 to 2.5 feet. On Alaska, possibility of seeing the first impacts would be in about 5-6 minutes, and then areas around St. Paul probably in about 15 minutes. We're expecting to see that impact. Less than a foot around Unalaska and about 1.7 feet for the areas around St. Paul. So just trying to go back here very quickly to where those tsunami, there's that tsunami warning for the areas, again, central and western Aleutians and the Pribilof Islands, and then this is the area under the tsunami advisory. The difference is with a tsunami warning, they do expect dry land, areas not on the coastline, dry land to actually be impacted and to actually get wet. That is the difference. Tsunami advisory, still expecting some impacts, but most of it expected along the coastal areas. Now, if you happen to be at sea, the guidance is to get to water that's at least 180 feet deep. This will limit the impact of the waves on your vessel. Also, if you are at sea, do not go into shallow water. That's where you have the risk of damage and the risk of injury. So please, if you're already at sea, you stay at sea. If you are in and you don't have time to get safely out to sea, you want to stay in the harbor if that's where you're starting from. So this is the areas under that tsunami advisory. Earlier today, you might have heard areas around Kodiak and into Homer, all the way down into Sitka. Those were at one point part of a tsunami watch. They are no longer. That has been reduced because they've decided that it is not going to extend that far. So we can be comforted at least that we're not expecting to see any impacts in that area. Our main areas will be areas for the western and central Aleutians, and then parts of Unalaska, all the way from the eastern Aleutians through the Alaska Peninsula. Please be on alert if you happen to be in those those areas. And if you do get a warning or a siren to evacuate, to move to higher ground, please do as soon as you hear that warning or that siren go off. Once again, we're going to take you over to Hawaii News Now. They are continuing with their breaking news coverage of this same alert and same warnings for their areas, because they are also under a tsunami warning for much of Hawaii.
Airport has been closed, is anticipating, what we're going to be seeing from this wave. And then also, we saw that shot earlier from Waikiki. Those still on the beach. Here's an update in regard to Waikiki. International Marketplace will be closed for the remainder of the day out of an abundance of caution for the safety of tenants, employees, and guests. That isn't, because people would be going to shop at this moment, but we're saying that as an indication of what's going to be happening in the surrounding area. That's going to be one of many businesses closing its doors for the day if they haven't already.
Yeah, I think it'll be plenty obvious for a lot of people that, trying to leave or get around, or thinking, why is the store closed? But again, it's because we are under a tsunami warning once again. Again, International Marketplace is closed. We also have a lot of areas where the traffic is backed up.
Yeah, we're getting video of traffic sent into our newsroom from all across Oahu right now. This is heading out to the Kaneohe area. So if you are in this, you're listening to the audio on your phone, listening to our newscast. Thank you for joining us. But you are not alone in the traffic right now. We are seeing traffic heading out to the windward coast, heading out to the leeward coast. The opening of Kolekole Pass should alleviate that. There's traffic around town on the freeway as people are heading out to their evacuation sites or stocking up on supplies.
Also, we've been hearing from the Coast Guard about vessels at sea. Obviously, we are an island state and surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, and the tsunami will be coming in. The Coast Guard has been telling vessel owners to get their vessels out to sea and follow those procedures. We have some video of one of those boaters preparing at the Alawai Small Boat Harbor.
I'm just gonna get prepared in case I have to hitch it and take it into higher ground. I'm just gonna untie it, get everything ready, hooked up. So all I gotta do is hitch up and throw it away.
What do your other buddies out here have to do?
They gotta go out. They have to, unless they're gonna ride the storm, they're gonna have to go out past the swell.
With a tsunami, that's pretty safe.
Yeah, if you're on the other side of the swell, but it looks like the swell is gonna be coming from the north. So it'll wrap around the island like this. So they'll probably have to go out this way.
So once again, the Coast Guard telling people to get their vessels out to ocean, or if they are on land, to definitely get those vessels away. This is a shot of people in line to get gas at Ewa Beach right now. And so there are a lot of people trying to prepare, get some last minute gas in case there are electrical outages, but just basically to top off at this point. So again, use some patience here, because there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people trying to get their preparations done because of the tsunami warning, and also to be getting out of areas like Ewa Beach to try to, basically be out of an evacuation area.
And we continue to receive these images. Here is a aerial view from Ala Moana, overlooking Ala Moana and Atkinson. You can see just the traffic all along Ala Moana Boulevard, which is to be expected. This is something that turned into a warning just before 3 this afternoon, moments before an expected rush hour. Right, Ben? So you have all these people on the roads right now. DLNR is going throughout the coastlines, clearing people out, telling people to leave the area. You have many employees who are in the downtown business district or throughout Honolulu heading to the roads right now. So a high view. Traffic is just horrible right now. Please be patient, but this is a matter of not panicking, but be prepared. There is time. So 7:10 is the expected arrival of the first wave following an 8.8 quake in the far east region of Russia. And this is also what you see typically in these types of moments, right, Ben?
A lot of people getting their water over at Costco. At last check, I don't know, there might still be some, but people are getting their supplies. This is not like a hurricane, but at the same time, there is still the possibility that maybe infrastructure could be affected because some of the coastlines have some of the electrical places. HECO has the Kahe power plant. Maybe it won't be affected, but it is a major power producer on the island of Oahu. Also Pearl City, that power plant there too, pretty close to the water. And so there are indications, well, no, I won't say indications, it's just that there is the possibility, but people but trying to be prepared, getting their water at Costco earlier this afternoon.
Everyone's getting prepared. City officials are getting prepared. We have a shot from inside the city's emergency operations center right now. You see Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi in front as the city's emergency officials have gathered, just waiting to see what will be unfolding, monitoring any updates that may be coming in right now. This is a statewide event. All of Hawaii is under a tsunami warning right now, with the first wave expected to arrive at 7:10. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins is tracking those updates and has information for us. Hey, Jen.
Mark and Ben, all very good information that you have been sharing. We have been seeing some of those updates coming our way, and I have to say that
this, which is great news to see that the city and the county has been prepared, and it looks like everyone is preparing well. Just a reminder, tsunami warning is in place due to this large earthquake that occurred in Russia at 8.8 magnitude, the depth at 19.3 kilometers. And with this caliber, that's why you can see the waves travel so far, as fast as a jumbo jet. We're talking about 500 plus miles per hour traveling over open waters with those tsunami waves. Tsunami warning is up, and it's going to be up throughout the next several hours. First wave expected after 7 o'clock. The closest to the epicenter is where the biggest tsunami waves have been reported. Of course, just off the coast of Russia here. We're talking about 3 to 4 meters, 9 to 13 feet has already been reported. And the NHK reported the first tsunami wave at 30 centimeters. So not very large in Japan quite yet, but they're expected it to be quite large into the next couple of hours. This is how it's going to break down. The tsunami readings already coming over Russia and Japan. Hawaii expecting to forecast anywhere between 1 to 3. That's where it's going to fall under, at 3 to 10 feet expected. So expected after 7 o'clock. Guam expected the same kind of forecast at 1 to 3 meters, and that's 3 to 10 feet as well. None confirmed yet there. History has shown this magnitude with the depth in between 8 and 9 in 1959, magnitude 8 from Russia. It generated anywhere from 0.1 to 0.2 meters. That was just under a foot, expected under about 0.3 in this situation. Hilo saw the most damage in past tsunamis, and with all the boats and also the caliber of this, it could create even some foundation concerns for some of the houses that are very close to the shoreline or even right at the harbor there, all those boats that are parked there. So this is the time to prepare. This is going to coincide with the strong currents, rip currents coming our way, very unpredictable, as you know, and possibly some coastal flooding coming our way, coinciding with the high tide. So the high tide is peaking at 7:03, expecting the first wave to come our way at about 7:10, and it is coming in at 1.52 with that high tide. So on top of that, we're getting that tsunami energy coming our way. So for the first wave of energy, expected it to fall maybe at 0.1 to 0.3, and potentially could get up to 1 to 2 meters. It highly depends on how fast it travels over open waters, and unpredictable with those strong currents like we're talking about. So a lot of moving parts, a lot happening, and we're getting closer to that 7 o'clock, 8 8 o'clock hour. So definitely prepare calmly. But I have to say, guys, it's amazing to see the city, county, and all the residents come together in a fashion that has been fairly calm despite the chaotic news of the tsunami coming our way.
Thanks very much, Jen. We are, of course, trying to cut through the chaos and give you some calm, cool, and collected information. So once again, this is not a time to panic, but it is a time to take action. A lot of people, unfortunately, are taking action all at once. It's not their fault, but it's because the tsunami warning came down and then everybody started leaving at once. Case in point, Ala Center, of course, the stores started closing there, and we did see a big traffic backup coming out of the parking lot. I think we've got a little bit of video of that. You can see traffic
this is
at a standstill.
This is happening in parking structures all throughout the city right now and all throughout the state as everyone was leaving at the same time once the warnings came down. We are also receiving some new information on kind of the effects of this tsunami in other parts of the world. We had mentioned that a tsunami has already been seen in parts of Russia near the quake's epicenter. Japan was also under a tsunami warning, and Hokkaido is seeing the effects. Information is emerging from Hokkaido. The Japan Meteorological Agency said a tsunami measuring 1.3 feet was detected in Tokachi on the southern coast of Hokkaido, the northernmost of the country's main islands. And so early readings are coming in, Ben.
Yeah, it's a foot, and 1.3 feet may not sound like much, but once again, we will still have to be on the lookout for strong currents because once again, this is not just the ocean surface, this is the entire water column that's being affected. And so we're going to at least see currents. We also have traffic, not only in Ala but also Ko'olina. This is what we are seeing getting out of that area. Most of these people, hopefully, were folks who were on the beach, who were maybe in the lower townhouses. But once again, if you're in those taller buildings, out in Ko'olina or anywhere else, if you're in the hotel district, if you're in an office building, 4th floor or above, that's where you should go. You will be safe there no matter the size of the tsunami. So again, 4th floor and above, do what's called a vertical evacuation. You don't have to leave the area, just go to a higher floor, 4th floor or above, and you will be safe.
We've seen traffic in Waikiki, Ala Moana, parts of urban Honolulu, out on the leeward coast at Ko'olina. We also have shots of the driving conditions along Oahu's windward coast right now. This is the Kaneohe Kahalu'u area. As you have traffic in, this is also an area too where, much like the leeward coast, a lot of high degree of concern among residents here to make sure that you have an evacuation plan and you have something in place, you have somewhere in place in times like this.
Yeah, especially this area, you're going to see a traffic backup nonetheless because all these homes that you're looking at, they're very close to the ocean. No doubt they are in an evacuation area. Also, some people had to be told to evacuate. This is what it was like when HPD has been going out along the coastlines telling people what they need to do.
To evacuate Ala Moana Beach Park. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes.
So we are have been watching the coverage of the tsunami warning in Hawaii. We have been watching their coverage, continuing to try and gather new information of what is going on for in Alaska. We are still under a tsunami warning for Alaska and parts of Alaska, and that is for the central and western Aleutians all the way out to Attu Island. Also included in that are the Pribilof Islands. So that is one area, and then also we have the area that is under a tsunami advisory, and that is from those eastern Aleutians into the Alaska Peninsula, still under that tsunami advisory. Now I am hopeful that I can bring our chief meteorologist at least in on the phone. I'm not sure if Melissa can hear me. Melissa, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Tracy. Can you hear me on your end?
Yes, we can hear you. So I know you're actually not in the office right now, but you have been tracking this situation and you're obviously very familiar with this situation. What can you tell us that we should know?
Yeah, so we have already seen that tsunami waves have been generated. So we're seeing those first reports coming in. Tsunami waves have already reached as far west as Japan and as far east as Amchitka, Alaska. Now, these waves vary between just about 1/4 foot and over a foot. But just a reminder that the first tsunami waves are not necessarily the largest. They can, grow in height. And also, a tsunami is not a single wave, it is a series of waves. And the National Tsunami Warning Center is telling us that some of these waves can continue for up to 36 hours. In some places, as far down the California coast, there's that potential for waves to extend there over the next 36 hours. But even Adak could see a duration of tsunami waves for 15 hours. So this is just the beginning of what could be just a really long duration event. And that's why I know, Tracy, you and everyone else there at Alaska's News Source continue to stress that if you are in that tsunami warning zone, which is still in place for the Western Aleutians, if you are listening to this, watching this, and you have not already moved to high ground or moved inland, definitely now is the time to do that. And even for locations that are under the advisory in the central and eastern Aleutians, you do need to be away from the water as well. And then, of course, certainly out of the water and off the shore, including any boats or anyone that happens to be recreating or working out in the water at this time.
Yes, Melissa, I know earlier some Alaskans might have seen their names on a tsunami watch. Those were for areas from Kodiak through southeast Alaska. Now they have reanalyzed that and canceled that watch. So we are still under that tsunami warning and tsunami advisory. Any information that we have on the earthquake that started this whole situation?
Yes, so it was a magnitude 8.8 earthquake, which that is the 7th largest earthquake to ever hit the planet, going back at least to the year 1500. So even including the 1700 Cascadia earthquake that's often talked about, this is the 7th largest earthquake in the last several hundred years to ever hit the planet. And is the largest anywhere on the planet that we have seen since that Great Japan quake of 2011 that generated a large tsunami and was just, a devastating event. So fortunately, hopefully, we're not seeing impacts like we saw in 2011. But certainly, this isn't that much smaller. That was a 9.1, and this is an 8.8 now upgraded that we have seen. And I know, Tracy, you've been talking about how this was a thrust earthquake. Which when it comes to tsunamis, that's important.
Yes, the type of earthquake definitely matters. And for those that are kind of referencing, as we have been, because we did have a tsunami warning in Alaska just a little over 10 days ago. This is a different type of earthquake and a much larger earthquake than what we saw those 10 days ago. So this is not something that you can relate to where you can say, oh, we can say it's not going to be as bad because of that. We cannot say that. This was a very large earthquake and a different kind of earthquake than we saw just a little bit ago. Now, one of the things I know that you probably can't see because you've been, you're not in the office, but we were showing some of the coverage from Hawaii News Now as they are also under a tsunami warning. And really, you see a lot of traffic. It does look like people have responded correctly, again, in the Hawaii area. They are, but of course, more people, a lot of roads, but a lot more cars as well. In Alaska, we have seen people get off the beach and move to higher ground, such as Adak. So really, any other advice for people? What do we want them to do at this point?
Yeah, it's just a really tough situation because it's not going to be immediate. We're used to tsunami drills and even fire drills where, you move to high ground, you wait a little bit, things, relax and you return home. And unfortunately, that is not the situation. This is likely going to be a long duration event until they know that those waves are no longer a threat. So If you are located in that tsunami warning zone, which we have been showing those maps really from the central Aleutians all the way west to Russia, if you're in that area, including Adak and Shimya, and even further east of there, you need to be at high ground and inland, and you need to stay there until it is safe to return. Again, this could be quite some time. If you're in that tsunami advisory area, which is from just the edge of the Alaska Peninsula into the far eastern Aleutians, those areas, including Unalaska and Dutch Harbor, those areas also need to be away from the water. Now, when there is an advisory, it tells you that there is a chance for tsunami waves to come in, a chance for that erratic current behavior, but is not likely going to be a large inundating wave. So if you're in that orange zone, the area we've been talking about for tsunami advisory, again, not expecting a large inundating wave there. But if you're in that red zone, the area we've been talking about from the central to western Aleutians, that's where a large inundating wave, which can certainly be deadly and has been in the past, that is where you need to be, again, out of those tsunami zones, which hopefully if you're a local in that community, you know exactly where those zones are. If someone happens to be visiting those areas, then hopefully they're following the signage. All of these communities do have signs. And if you are curious about a loved one, a friend or family member that may be in one of those communities, you can go to the Alaska Earthquake Center, and they have the tsunami inundation maps for every community that's at risk here in Alaska. So you can look and see the exact street that you need to be away from. So that's helpful. But just a reminder to anyone in Kodiak, Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, and all of Southeast, that's where we had that tsunami watch earlier. Those have all been canceled. So there is no threat to those areas. Again, this is strictly the Aleutians up into the Pribilofs that need to be following these warnings and advisories at this time. And I just, Tracy, can't stress it enough how hard it is to not have that immediate information. Really, the only information that you need right now is it's not safe to be along the coastline in those communities. But as soon as they start to get more data from buoys, wave measurements, sea surface height measurements, they will pass that information on, and we'll know when it's safe to go back. But unfortunately, right now, we still have that tsunami advisory and warning in effect for the Aleutians.
Yes, and we do have a little bit of updated information for areas along the Aleutian Islands and Alaska Peninsula. They have now, this is the Tsunami Warning Center's most recent update, that for Adak, expected wave heights, again, still possibility of 15 hours that this could be impacting you. 1.2 feet to 2.2 feet. So they have downgraded that a little bit for the areas around Adak. And then for Unalaska, St. Paul, Sandpoint, and Cold Bay, we're looking at less than a foot for the wave. Earlier, we talked to Dave Schneider at the Tsunami Warning Center, and he said basically anything more than a few centimeters is cause for concern. And while we're not looking at those 5 and 6 foot waves that were originally forecast, we still a foot of water, a foot being pushed in is still something significant, and that warning does still stay in effect for the Aleutian Islands from Samalga Pass to Attu Island, and that includes the Pribilof Islands as well. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're not in the office, but for calling in and giving us some insight, since I know you have a lot of information and a lot of knowledge about these things. So I really do appreciate you stepping in and just giving us a bit of your wisdom. We really appreciate it.
Of course, yeah, we want to make sure Alaskans are all safe through this. We have these drills and the practice and the research and the science for this very thing. We know that an earthquake of this magnitude is certainly possible at any time in Alaska. So it happened to fall on today's date in the afternoon, and hopefully Alaskans are responding, know how to stay safe. And our friends and family down in Hawaii, same story. Hopefully everyone is just following the warnings, and we'll get through this. The waves will come and they'll go, and we'll be able to get back to normal just as soon as that water activity settles down.
Yes, and hopefully that will be soon. So thank you, Melissa. We're going to let you go. We do appreciate that. We do have some information that the tsunami has been generated in a couple of locations. In fact, Chitka, Alaska, a 0.8-foot wave. Hanasaki, Japan, 1.1 feet. And Nikolsko, Russia, that was 0.2 feet. And those are the observed max tsunami heights that have been recorded as of the most recent message, which really came in just a few minutes ago. Did I say 28 feet? I apologize. It was 0.2 feet. Around Nikolsko, Russia, 1.1 feet. I apologize if I misspoke. I didn't mean to scare anyone. Around Hanasaki, Japan, that was 1.1 feet. And then Chitka, Alaska, 0.8 feet. So again, most of them are under a foot or close to a foot, and that is always good news because the smaller we're dealing with, the better. We are still under a tsunami warning for areas of the central and western Aleutians and the Pribilofs. And when we say tsunami warning, that means that land that is normally dry could get wet, could be inundated with some water. So that's why we ask everybody to move to higher ground as soon as you hear those sirens. We got a report live from Adak earlier, and it sounds like that's exactly what their community has done, that they have moved up to one of the highest points on the island, and they're just monitoring the situation, not really making any changes until things clear and they get the all clear. So this are the area under the tsunami advisory, and that is for the eastern Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. Again, those levels have been downgraded just a little bit for Unalaska, St. Paul, Sandpoint, and Cold Bay, now looking at heights of less than a foot, and those have the possibility of coming in. For St. Paul, have just recently occurred, and then Sandpoint about 7:25, 8 o'clock Alaska time for areas around Cold Bay. So we're continuing to watch that situation, and we are going to turn our attention back to Local News Live, which is our national news organization, for their continued coverage of this as well. And we will do our best to keep you updated on Alaska's News Source and alaskasnewssource.com of new information that impacts Alaska directly. And let's take a listen to what is going on, as I said, with our Local News Live station as they're continuing their coverage of this event.
On the hour or every hour, at least alerts getting sent out to people's phones, of course, and we just know that they're prepared for this. They're trying their best to get this. So again, that website up for you right here, hawaiinewsnow.com. If you want to continue that streaming here, some Local News Live, we may dip away here as we wait for them to come back, but you can go to hawaiinewsnow.com throughout the next several hours, next couple of days, as we see the impacts from this potential tsunami from now on the way.
This is breaking news.
Let's rejoin their coverage right now for just a little bit.
Robbins, and we are tracking a tsunami warning, and we are going to be seeing the impact start after 7 o'clock. You see all of the islands under a tsunami warning. Let's take a closer look. The source of why we're seeing tsunami waves come our way is an 8.8 magnitude earthquake that happened in Russia, the depth at 20.7 kilometers. So incredible to see all of that energy. They're already seeing reports of big waves there along Japan as well, and now traveling over open waters. Closer to the epicenter, anywhere from 3 to 4 meters has already been reported. That brings us to 9 to 13 feet. And then you can see the first tsunami waves initially reported at 30 centimeters over in Japan, but it could be expected to be larger as we go into the next couple of hours. So here are the wave readings and what we're expecting when it comes to the forecast. Along the Russian Russian coast, 3 to 4 meters. That's about 10 to 13 feet that I already have observed. In Japan, up to 3 meters, but already observing 1.3 feet. In Hawaii, expecting that after 7 o'clock, 1 to 3 meters. That brings us to anywhere from 3 to 10 feet. And also for Guam, the same forecast there, none confirmed yet. So historically, as we break this information down, the Great Chilean earthquake in 1960 was 9.5 magnitude. One of the strongest earthquakes arrived 15 hours later. Here in Hawaii, it was up to 35 feet. In 2010, the earthquake magnitude of 8.8, much smaller when it comes to the tsunami waves at 3 feet. In 2011, Japan earthquake was 9.1, 6 to 7 feet. Lots of property damage. And we could be seeing some property damage along the coastline, some coastal flooding, and certainly with boats. So if you are in a vessel or have a vessel or know someone who are in harbors, definitely check on them to see if they have a plan to evacuate and to get away from the coastline and go inland towards Malka. And this is going to coincide with high tide peaking at 7:03. High tide coming in at 1.52 feet. High tide and tsunami coming in at the same time. Strong currents and rip currents is going to be a big concern for us with that coastal flooding. Well, it's really hard to say how big the tsunami is going to be, but the initial set of energy arriving at 7:10 in Honolulu this evening could easily be about 0.1 to 0.3, and then gradually getting larger and larger as the night progresses. According to some of the forecast readings, maybe 1 to 2 meters, which is quite significant. More than 3 feet a possibility. Unpredictable, strong currents. That's why you need to stay out of the water. We've been seeing very rough shorelines when we have tsunamis, and we've seen that in history. So something that we'll be watching very carefully are all of these elements coming together. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Jen. Of course, we do have crews stationed throughout the island, including our Jonathan Masaki, who's headed to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. And even our own Daryl Huff, who apparently is stuck in traffic as we monitor the different situations across the roadways. We're getting reports of a lot of traffic jams across town.
This is a statewide response right now. So what we've been showing throughout the afternoon is traffic jams throughout different parts and throughout different counties across Oahu. Many employees leaving their places of business. Governor Josh Green instructed state employees to leave after the warning came down just before 3 p.m. Hawaii time. And this is what we're talking about here. Many hitting the roads. This is from earlier this afternoon, just giving you a picture and giving you a sense right now as residents respond to this warning, which is unfolding in real time. First anticipated wave is at 7:10 this evening. There will be a warning siren going off any moment now. We were told that it will be happening at 5:10. So if that audio does kick in, forgive us here if you're hearing it over the air, or it could be popping up on our phones as well. But the expectation is that another siren will be going off at 5:10, after which we'll be hearing from Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi and city officials here in Honolulu about the response.
Yeah, so of course, you are seeing these images right now of the roads that are just jammed.
Okay, we're working out to get Stephanie's microphone sorted out right now as we're mapping out this response statewide. Traffic jams and traffic backups happening throughout Oahu right now. We are seeing Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi getting ready for a podium, and another monitor we are monitoring in the newsroom here as we give you a look at the backup on windward Oahu. We also saw a similar sight on the leeward coast. Kole Pass is opened up for emergency access at this point. Let's also give you video from Hilo right now. Hawaii County residents leaving the area, and you could be hearing the sirens over air right now as the second emergency siren warning of the tsunami warning is going off right now.
So the message that we've been hearing from emergency officials is to prepare, to have a plan in place. Do not panic at this time. As we take a look at the situation here in Kaka'ako, don't wait until the last minute to leave. But if you and your family do have a plan, meet at a meeting place, Make sure that you have the necessary materials, your medication. Make sure you unplug those sensitive electronics. Also, if you live on a boat or if you have a boat, make sure to tie up that boat properly and take it out to sea. So we again are hearing these sirens sounding off on cell phones across the state. Of course, Hawaii under a tsunami warning after a powerful magnitude 8.7 earthquake off the east coast of Kamchatka, Russia.
Let's go to Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi at the city's Emergency Operations Center with an update.
Well, good evening. Well, if you're watching us right now, you're fully aware that the state is under a tsunami alert. That said, what you're doing is the right thing to do. We ask you to pay attention, stay with your media for updates. Here in Oahu tonight, I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who are going to give you some really pertinent information. But I ask that you stay calm. If you're in a low-lying area, please get to high ground. You'll hear about our emergency centers that are open, and I'll let Randy Collins, our Emergency Management Services Director, tell you that. But we need people to cooperate with each other. Right now, the roads are full, people trying to move. We ask you to stay calm, cooperate, and get to high ground, if at all possible, where you are. We promise to give you complete updates. Right now, the expected time of anything that might happen here in Oahu is going to be somewhere around 7:15. We're expecting it to be at Kauai around 7:10. We'll know. We've been told by Civil Defense that when it passes the island of Midway, we'll get a good read as to what we can expect, and that's not scheduled to happen for a while yet. But we promise to keep you updated. Please stay close to your media. Listen. If you are in a safe place, stay there. And if you're not, do something about it. Get to higher ground. So with that, I want to bring up Randy Collins, who's our Emergency Management Services Director. Randy.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. As the mayor indicated, our number one priority is to get people to safety. So get out of the tsunami zones, out of the tsunami inundation areas. Those are clearly marked by these tsunami zone signs that you've seen around that we worked hard in instilling over the past year to make sure that you're aware of where those tsunami zones are. You can also find out more information at www.honolulu.gov/DEM. There you will be able to find all the various types of resources about these tsunami warnings. As the mayor mentioned, our number one priority is life safety. And so right now it's an easy thing. Get away from the beaches, get inland, and get upward. So that's our message right now. I would also tell you that we are working hard with all of the city agencies and other stakeholders to make sure that we are activating the tsunami assembly areas around the Oahu. And we want everyone to, if you do live in an area that's within a tsunami area, first and foremost, go to a friend's house, go to a neighbor's house, go to your workplace, but go inward and upward out of the tsunami area. If you have no other place to go, then go to the tsunami assembly areas that we have activated around Oahu. Would also encourage you to not call 911 for evacuation out of your home. Depend on your friends and family and your neighbors to help you get out of the tsunami zones. 911 services are not for helping to evacuate. Our 911 services are for in danger of life and health services. And so we don't want to over or inundate the 911 centers. So please make sure that you use all other resources available to you to evacuate out of the tsunami zone and get to those other refuge areas. And again, as a last resort, go to those tsunami assembly areas. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ocean Safety for some information about what's happening on the beaches.
Hold on one second. I have Mayor step in.
Sure.
Well, good evening again. I guess the tone was running. So I want to open up by saying if you're watching us right now, no doubt you understand that we're under a full tsunami alert here. And so that said, we at this point are taking that most seriously. And our appeal to you is to, if you're in a low-lying area, get yourself safe, get to higher ground. Okay, we ask people to stay calm, cooperate. We know the roads are full out there. Our anticipation right now, based on the latest information we have, is that we're a couple of hours away from any potential impact to Hawaii. We're going to get, as I understand it, we'll have a better read once it passes Midway, which should be substantially before then. and we'll be able to pass that on. I've come up here tonight with all the right people here to keep you informed. That's what we want to do, and we will continue to keep you informed. So everybody has power now. You have access to your media outlets. Pay attention, listen. We'll try to help you as much as we possibly can. All of our people are out there doing what they can to help people, but the best thing you can do is to help yourself and get you and your family safe. If you can, get to higher ground, okay? So I'm going to bring up ocean safety right now. So.
Thank you, Mayor. Buck Giles from Ocean Safety. Not much to say, but just to reiterate, get to higher ground. Our lifeguard towers right now are closed. We have mobile responders currently giving warnings to people to get away from the beaches and out of the ocean. We've conducted ocean rescue warnings from Diamond Head through Kewalo Basin, as well as on the other sides of the island. But we really need to stress that get to higher ground, get out of those tsunami zones, just be smart and follow what the news is telling us. We will know more information as it comes. Again, we are here to help in before and after anything happens. Thank you very much.
Aloha, good evening. Chief Howe from the Honolulu Fire Department. Just like everyone else said, I'm not going to repeat, but we want everyone to stay safe, evacuate early so you don't put yourself in a tough situation. As far as for our response, we'll do our best to continue services. And at a certain point, our personnel would also have to relocate those low-lying areas. So we came up with a plan to move our resources inland and at a higher elevation. And we're just going to monitor all the reports that continue to come in, and again, try and maintain as much of our response capabilities as long as we can, and not to endanger our staff as well. So I'll hand off to HPD. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Sergeant Dana Souza from the Honolulu Police Department, Major Events Division. Most everybody said it before me. We'll continue to work with fire, any other emergency management agencies to ensure public safety. If you could rely on one another and utilize your resources as much as possible. And if you need to utilize 911 for concurring emergencies. Thank you.
Hi, Roger Morton, Director of Transportation Services. A little bit about our transit situation, that we are planning to stop operating any trip that was scheduled to start at after 6 p.m. So up until 6 p.m., we're going to continue to operate trips. Having said that, some of those trips would not have finished their trip and still be in a possible inundation zone. And so there may be detours that drivers will take people to higher ground if they're in danger. If you are a loved one of somebody that takes the bus and you haven't heard from them, then I would urge you to try to call them and tell them what's going on with the bus service. We have a lot of people that have language difficulties sometimes, and got to get the word out to your loved ones that after 6 p.m., we're going to suspend any service that starts after that point. For Skyline, we're going to run Skyline until the 6:35 trip from Halava, and that'll be the last Skyline. Now, having said all of that, we're going to be monitoring the situation very closely after the event. It's possible that we will restore service sometime in the evening. Thank you.
So I want to say it one more time. You can help yourself the best. We're here to help you, but we need you to help yourself as well. We would not be doing this if this wasn't most serious at this point in time. So please take this very seriously, and don't go down to the beach. Don't be looking at waves. Get yourself as high as you possibly can. So with that, if I can answer any questions, we'll be happy to do so. Yes. You know, I would imagine that HPD right now is out there trying to move traffic along to the best of their ability. I know we've gotten some calls that it is horrible, and people are in gridlock, and that's, you know, all I could ask is for people to keep their calm, and we'll try to move things along as best we can, you know.
We're getting calls from people who are disabled. Is there anything they can do with the handy van? Is there anything to try to evacuate or get to high ground?
Yeah, Roger?
Yeah, we are stuck in the 93% of our service right now is running late. and most of our assets are not in a position where we could respond at this point. We urge the families to try to, to take advantage and keep their loved ones away if they're in low-lying areas.
Any other questions? Yes.
Is there any message you can have to people who traveled here, who are vacationing here, that are not familiar with the area?
Well, I know that they're doing a lot down in Waikiki if they're in hotels, and that each and every property, I think, has got their own plans, if you will. So pay attention. This is real, and it's most serious. And if they happen to be watching, we don't have these events very often, but when we do, they're real and they're serious. So we just ask you to pay attention, do what you've been asked to do, and we're all going to hope for the best. All right, that we'll be back, okay? We'll keep you posted. Anything that we hear that's definitive, that could be of importance in news, we certainly will provide that. All right, thank you.
And you just heard from emergency officials there. And as we take a look now from Kauai about the Kauai emergency shelters, we're going to list them off for you. These are areas that you can evacuate to: Kapa'a High School, Kapa'a Middle School, Ele Elementary School, Koloa Library, Kauai Community College, Kalaheo Neighborhood Center, Kilauea Elementary School. Now, these refuge areas will have parking and restroom facilities available. And keep in mind, if you are bringing a pet, make sure you bring a kennel, food, and water for the animal.
And county officials are responding statewide. And we just showed you the Kauai emergency shelters on Hawaii County. You have evacuation sites open at Pu'u'eo Community Center, Panaeva Park, Kea'au Armory, Pahoa Neighborhood Facility, Ka'u District Gym, the Na'alehu Community Center, Yano Hall, Kealakehe High School Gym, Waimea Community Center, Hisaoka Gym, and Honoka'a Gym. So a number of sites available for those seeking shelter on Hawaii County, as well as Kauai. And as we just heard, circling back to the news conference with Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi, as well as with city first responders, there's an overarching message of, be prepared. Don't panic in this. Have a plan. So you leave the inundation areas, get inland, get upward. So the official warning came down just before 3 o'clock our time. And since then, we've seen traffic backups across different parts of the island, across different parts of the state. Roger Morton, City Transportation Director, was saying that bus service will be going on until about 6 o'clock this evening. And then Skyline, the last trip is at 6:35 from Alava. So there has been lead time in this, so there is time for many to take shelter.
Yes, and the emphasis is if you are in a low-lying area to move inward and upward, just as you said, Mark. But what hasn't been said is obviously if you are not in a tsunami zone, there is no need for you to be out on the roads. Again, we are seeing these images just coming into the newsroom right now of the traffic gridlock all across the island, and the emergency officials want to make clear that we want to make sure that we do not congest or overwhelm these roadways unnecessarily. So if you do have a loved one, come up with a plan and make sure that you have a family member. Go ahead and meet them at that area. We want to go now live. We're hearing that a news conference is happening right now with Governor Josh Green, along with other state emergency officials, about the tsunami warning. Let's listen in.
Everyone is prepared, everyone is ready for what may come, but there is always some uncertainty about the size of the wave. In about 5 minutes, we'll reconvene a statewide meeting. We will hear an update on the size of the wave, as I said, as it passes through the middle of the Pacific. We'll also be in communication with other states and islands, such as Guam, Tsunami, finding out what they have experienced. After the wave has passed, after we're all safe, we will reach out to these other friends of ours across the Pacific to support them in their recovery also.
Mahalo, Governor. Andrew?
From what you shared so far, is any of that based on any ocean readings between Russia and between Midway and Russia?
Yes, there was immediately a response from all of the nearshore buoys. The question was answered almost immediately. Right after the earthquake, it was clear to us that there was going to be a wave. As we have shared, we don't know how large a wave, usually until it passes midway. And as you can see, it takes 5 to 6 hours to come across the Pacific in this case. That's why we're always postured to first check. We don't want to alarm people unnecessarily, but once we see that there's going to be a wave, we begin our protocol. And usually the protocol results in an initial siren, which you heard, just to kind of wake people up to the severity of the situation, followed by the 3 hours out, 2 hours out, the 1 hour out, and the 30-minute out warnings. At that point, we expect everyone to be fully evacuated, either out of the inundation zones or vertically. People should not, and I will say it one more time, should not, as we have seen in the past, stay around the shoreline or risk their lives just to see what a tsunami looks like. It is not a regular wave. It will actually kill you if you get hit by a tsunami. So you have to be out of that area. Please do not put anyone in a situation where General Logan has to search and find you with a helicopter. It is not likely we will recover you if a tsunami takes you from the shore.
If you're stuck in traffic right now or in the coming hour or so, trying to evacuate, at what point, should you consider, what advice do you have to people who are still trying to evacuate at this time and as it gets closer to the 7 o'clock?
I believe everyone should have adequate time to get out of the evacuation zones. There were some accidents on the highway as we were aware coming in. We'll continue to update you, especially based on the size of the wave. Obviously, everyone has to be away from the shoreline. We've been in contact with our tourism authority, Jimmy Tokioka, who's our director of DBED. He's been talking to the hotels. I've been speaking to the hospitals. They are prepared. They've actually activated additional shifts in case there are mass casualties. We are praying that that will not be necessary. If the waves come and go and then we give the all clear, we will be back to fine. We'll be back to normal. We probably will have a lot of debris to clean up. That's where our team will execute kind of the cleanup. There could be some power failures if local poles go down. Be aware of that. There could be some loss of water pressure. That happens sometimes in these circumstances. But once we give the all clear, we will no longer worry about casualties when we'll just be cleaning up. I really think people should have plenty of time, given where we are. Some of the traffic was already beginning to abate when we got here at about 4:55.
This formally concludes the presser, and we will stay tuned. We will have more updates in future press conferences. Mahalo.
To a news conference with Governor Josh Green and emergency officials who spoke earlier, re-emphasizing the same plan echoed by Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi that in a situation like this,
make sure you've just been watching here, of course, our station Hawaii News Now, the very latest coverage. We just heard from the governor of the state of Hawaii, making sure that everyone's aware of this incoming tsunami wave that is expected in just a couple of hours or so in Hawaii time, local time, about 7:15 local time there in Hawaii. So they're sounding the alerts, making sure everyone is evacuated who needs to evacuate in those evacuation zones. We have a look at the map actually as well after this 8.8 magnitude earthquake off of northeastern Russia. And you can see here the alerts. I'm going to take down this graphic so you can see Hawaii there is in orange along with the tips of the Aleutian Islands. Those are the tsunami warnings that are now currently in effect off Alaska's Aleutian Islands, the end of that tip, the island chain, and then Hawaii in orange. The yellow, which you see is much of the western coast of the United States and Canada, that's just an advisory. That means that minimal impacts are expected. No inundation, just minimal impacts, but just reminding folks to stay out and away from the edge of the water because there's stronger currents, rip currents that are there possible. So an advisory for the U.S. and Canadian West Coast there, much of it, but that orange warning in effect for all of Hawaii is why you're seeing the response right now that they are making sure that everyone knows that they are expecting potentially several feet of water tonight off of the entire coast of Hawaii. Now, if you want to continue streaming this live coverage, HawaiiNewsNow.com is the website. Local News Live is breaking away here about 11:30 Eastern Time, but the coverage continues in Hawaii from our excellent station, Hawaii News Now, and their team of journalists all across the Hawaiian Islands. They will be on top of the story for the next several hours, overnight, throughout the night, live streaming at HawaiiNewsNow.com. You can also search your app store for their free app, and you can stream it live there as well. For now, I'm Graham Olkins. We, of course, will have much more coverage on our morning show right here on Local News Live and all of our editions tomorrow as well. And you can, again, continue streaming at HawaiiNewsNow.com. For now, we bring you back into regular LNL programming.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jess Langlois from WCAX in Burlington, Vermont. Another muggy night out there for a lot of the Northeast. Temperatures staying in the mid to upper 60s and low 70s. The only cool spot being in northern Maine, where we get some upper 50s compared to the rest of us. Still a warmer day again on Wednesday. Most spots getting into the mid 80s to low 90s for highs. A bit cooler in northern Maine. We do have a cold front that's going to be dropping south, though, into the day on Wednesday, touching off the chance for some showers and storms for northern New England early in the day. Then we'll start to see the chance for a few thunderstorms into central and southern areas by afternoon. A few of those could be on the stronger side. For WCAX, I'm Jess Langlois.
Rethink how you get breaking news.
Investigators still working to determine what caused that explosion.
With Local News Live, you get news from local experts covering today's big stories.
From communities coast to coast, these are your stories, and no one covers them like Local News Live.
Spring storms are ravaging the South.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
We're actually standing on State Street.
The ones that matter to you and your family.
You're cutting in to take a live look at the New York Stock Exchange.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country who know the streets and the people.
Happening now, there's an active shooter situation at Florida State University.
News as it happens from all sides.
Republicans went 2 for 2 tonight.
Live and local.
We can see some of the aftermath from Friday's fire.
Find it on the all-new Local News Live streaming app. Search LNL on your TV, on your phone. It's fast. It's free.
Thanks for joining me on Local News Live. I'm Deborah Alfarone.
Local News Live. Your nation. Your neighborhood. Always streaming. Always free.
There are a lot of words I would use to describe my daughter. Kind, strong, hilarious. When I think about how much she's experienced in her life, we can't help but be inspired by her every day. So really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
Big stories break every day.
Let's get right to our breaking news this hour.
And now, every weekend.
Very active scene that you're seeing behind me.
Local News Live is everywhere. Straight from local reporters and meteorologists, tracking the big stories on their streets and what that means for your plans and your safety.
Residents are taking this threat very seriously.
Local News Live, your nation, your neighborhood. Weekdays and now on weekends. Always streaming, always free.
From communities coast to coast, these are your stories, and no one covers them like Local News Live.
Spring storms are ravaging the South.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
We're actually standing on State Street.
The ones that matter to you and your family.
You're cutting in to take a live look at the New York Stock Exchange.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country who know the streets and the people.
Happening now, there's an active shooter situation at Florida State University.
News as it happens from all sides.
Republicans went 2 for 2 tonight.
Live and local.
We can see some of the aftermath from Friday's fire.
Find it on the all-new Local News Live streaming app. Search LNL on your TV, on your phone. It's fast. It's free.
Thanks for joining me on Local News Live. I'm Deborah Alfarone.
Local News Live. Your nation. Your neighborhood. Always streaming. Always free.
There are a lot of words I would use to describe my daughter. Kind, strong, hilarious. When I think about how much she's experienced in her life, we can't help but be inspired by her every day. So really, we are the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
Big stories break every day.
Let's get right to our breaking news this hour.
And now, every weekend,
Very active scene that you're seeing behind me.
Local News Live is everywhere. Straight from local reporters and meteorologists, tracking the big stories on their streets and what that means for your plans and your safety.
Residents are taking this threat very seriously.
Local News Live, your nation, your neighborhood. Weekdays and now on weekends. Always streaming, always free.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Ram dealer today.
From communities coast to coast, these are your stories, and no one covers them like Local News Live.
Spring storms are ravaging the South.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
We're actually standing on State Street.
The ones that matter to you and your family.
You're cutting in to take a live look at the New York Stock Exchange.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country who know the streets and the people.
Happening now, there's an active shooter situation at Florida State University.
News as it happens from all sides.
Republicans went 2 for 2 tonight.
Live and local.
We can see some of the aftermath from Friday's fire.
Find it on the all-new Local News Live streaming app. Search LNL on your TV, on your phone. It's fast. It's free.
Thanks for joining me on Local News Live. I'm Deborah Alfarone.
Local News Live. Your nation. Your neighborhood. Always streaming. Always free.
There are a lot of words I would use to describe my daughter. Kind, strong, hilarious. When I think about how much she's experienced in her life, we can't help but be inspired by her every day. So really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
Big stories break every day.
Let's get right to our breaking news this hour.
And now, every weekend.
Very active scene that you're seeing behind me.
Local News Live is everywhere. Straight from local reporters and meteorologists, tracking the big stories on their streets and what that means for your plans and your safety.
Residents are taking this threat very seriously.
Local News Live, your nation, your neighborhood. Weekdays and now on weekends. Always streaming, always free.
Local News Live.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
What a pleasure to have this guest here. While at Stanford, he won a record 11 tournaments and was the top amateur in the country. And when he turned pro, all cameras were on him. Sound familiar? Well, today's guest here at the Pro-Am Golf Tournament in Pebble Beach, California. No, it isn't Tiger Woods, but many pundits have pointed out that he is following in his footsteps. He's just turned pro, and it's just a matter of time. Most are expecting for him, too, to be a household name. And that name is Maverick McNeely. Thank you so very much for taking time to join us here.
Yeah, thanks for having me today.
I appreciate it. And you know what? As a matter of fact, one of the owners of this show, Joyce Moskovich, says you are the youngest that we've had on this program. So thank you so much. But you bring a lot of experience to the table. First and foremost, talk about your siblings and the name Maverick and the other names and how that came about.
So whenever I introduce myself as Maverick, the first question is, so where's Goose? But it's
right.
my three younger brothers and I are all actually named after American cars. So my dad grew up in Detroit. My grandpa worked for American Motors. My three younger brothers and I are all named after American cars. So Maverick's a Ford, Dakota is a Dodge, Colt is also a Dodge, and Scout's a Jeep. So we're all American cars.
When you hear a setup like this where folks are comparing you, if you will, and you're creating your own footsteps, but you made a decision to turn pro in golf where those comparisons are going to be there. You could have gone another route. Why golf?
Well, first of all, I love the game of golf. And when I finished my senior year at Stanford, I thought I hadn't played my best golf yet. And to be completely honest...
Excuse me, hadn't played your best golf yet? 11 tournaments you won while in school? And you're still on the ascendancy, huh?
I'll put it this way. If I ever get to the point where I don't think I can get better at golf, I'd lose a lot of interest. And for me, the process of figuring out everything I can do to get better is really exciting to me. And people ask me, what would you have done if it wasn't golf? And I said, I don't know. I would have started, anyone who would hire me, I'd sweep floors if I needed to, but I'd be such a good floor sweeper that they'd want me to do something else that's more worthwhile. So that's just kind of how I operate. I have a task in front of me, and I want to just see how good I can get at it.
The work ethic, the attitude that you have, etc. Where did that come from? How was it instilled?
My parents never told us that we were wealthy growing up, and when that kind of became apparent, I mean, people called me rich kid in third grade or whatnot. They just told us you're going to have to be nicer than everyone, and you're going to have to work harder than everyone to prove that you're a good person and you got to where you are, not just because of the amazing opportunities you had, but also because you work extremely hard and you have that work ethic. And you're dealt the hand of cards you're dealt, and I was dealt an incredible one, fantastic opportunities, and I just think it's my job to do the most I possibly can in good.
Did it ever bother you as a youngster growing up that people would put those monikers on you, the rich kid and the expectations, and the fact that you are a nice young man? Has it proven to pay dividends for you, life lessons?
I think so. I mean, my dad always tells me if you can do something about it, do it. If not, don't worry about it. And it works extremely well in golf. You know, I just hit it in the water. I can't do anything about that, but I can get this up and down and save bogey. He's just always taught us to take personal responsibility for our actions, to do everything we can to be a good person. If you can even see that bright red line between what's right and wrong, turn around and run.
What's the biggest angst that you have right now embarking upon a career as a pro?
I think a good analogy for the way I'm going about my professional life is actually what I do on every shot when I play. My mental coach and I have a system of ones and zeros for every shot. And so if I am committed, if I go through my routine, if I have good process, and if I'm distraction free on my shot, I give myself a 1. If not, I give myself a 0. And at the end of the day, I just tally up how many ones, how many zeros, and you know, I try and be over 95%. So if I can be that way in everything I do in my life and on the golf course, I think I'll know I've been true to myself and everything I know I need to do, and give myself the best shot to do something good.
You've got some awfully strong truisms. More with Mr. Maverick McNeely right after this.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Ram dealer today.
Oh, hey, I'm your celebrity spokesperson for Zine, the new way to stream local news, sports, and events from all over the country.
But Zine speaks for itself. It doesn't need a celebrity spokesperson to tell you to download Zine. Besides, an ex-teen idol like myself might resort to pandering gimmicks.
You're too smart for that. Let's cut to the Zine logo before I do some sexy, overdramatic ending, huh?
Zine, always local, always free. With Zine, you can stream local news, sports, and events from all over the country. I feel a jingle coming on. I said it's free, 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 free. Zine, 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 it's free. Local news. I love you, Zine.
In a Jurassic world, every Jeep vehicle is Jurassic rated. Experience open-air freedom for all. Unsurpassed towing, no matter what it is. Or a third row to fit in all the adventure. Jeep, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Right now, get our best 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Jeep dealer today.
When Maverick McNeely was deciding whether to turn professional, his father Scott challenged him by pointing out all the reasons he should remain an amateur. Elaborate.
It was around the start of 2017, January 2017, graduating that spring, and I brought my dad, my mom, my swing coach, my coach Conrad Ray at Stanford into the conference room at Stanford, and I said, I think this professional golf thing is something I want to do. And my dad laid out every reason why I shouldn't. And I walked.
Such as some of the things he said?
Well, he said just think about what you would be doing if you weren't playing golf. You'd be in a boardroom. You told me I have good people skills. I can, and that if you work hard in the real world, it pays you off a lot more consistently than it does in golf. You can work in your putting for 10 hours and make nothing the next day, and you can wake up, roll out of bed, and have 18 putts. Golf's a little bit more fickle that way. There's professional golfers who've been doing this their whole life, and they're really, really good, and that's why they're playing pro. And there are just a lot of reasons, and my world was flipped upside down walking out of that meeting. I thought I had it figured out, went back and thought about it, and came back a couple weeks later, and same meeting, said, yep, this is still something I want to do. And he said, that's exactly what I wanted you to do, because the only way you can make a bad decision is if you don't commit to that decision, if you think twice about it, or if you have any regrets.
As you think about the list of points that your dad and others in that summit meeting, if you will, gave you, were there any elements that were giving you pause for concern?
I wouldn't say concern, but more consideration. I actually interned at my dad's startup weigh-in a couple times before I started college in the summer, just a couple weeks here and there. And that was where I first figured out what I wanted to major in, which was management science and engineering. I don't think my life endeavors are going to end on the golf course. I mean, I know for a fact that's not what I want, and because I think there's a lot that can be done off the golf course too.
Such as?
Well, the PGA Tour, a little known fact, yearly the PGA Tour donates more to charity than the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL combined. Combined. And so I think, like I said, there's to whom much is given, much is expected. There's a lot that I want to do off the golf course and don't really know what form that's going to take yet. So I think playing sports, not just to become a professional, not with that dream, and not just because there's a lot of great things that come with being an athlete, but because there's a lot of things you can learn and a lot of ways to make yourself a better person that way.
So when you examine your game, as you're now going to be a professional for however long, talk about, for the uninitiated, what assets, what skill set do you think you bring to the golf profession?
I think the thing that allows me to be the best I can be, I'm not the most physically gifted, I don't hit it the furthest, I don't hit it the best, and I certainly don't have the most experience, but what I think gives me an advantage is I'm very introspective, so every day, after every round, I write about a page and a half about how that day went. I've written down every shot I've hit in competition since the start of my freshman year. I've written down, what went well today, what went poorly, what did I do to fix it, and what did I learn today. I just write those things down, and I think I've gained a much better understanding of what I need to do to play well, but I think that does give me an advantage.
Talk about you can't expect what you don't inspect. You have inspected it thoroughly. On that list of things that your support team, if you will, had to put down there was the media, the expectations. Talk about how you're planning to approach that even today.
The tough part, though, has been I had a fantastic amateur career. 2015, I won 7 out of 12 college events. Was playing out of my mind. And 2016, I won 1. 2017, I won 1. I was struggling a little bit, and it's dealing with expectations internally and externally was challenging. But as a professional, there's a lot of, it feels like fanfare. There's a lot of interviews, a lot of media, a lot of, can we put you on the cover of this? Can we put you an article in this? And it's funny to me because I feel like I haven't done anything as a professional. I look at everyone that's up and down the driving range, and these guys are so much more experienced. They've played so much more good golf at this level than I have. And I'm just a 22-year-old kid that just got out of college trying to find my footing. And I haven't won anything. My best finish on the PGA Tour is T29. At some points, it feels like I'm being set up to fail almost, because how can I possibly meet these expectations that are being set for me? But then again, it's also really cool that people care, and I also like to hold myself to the highest standard.
You mentioned a multidisciplinary approach to things. And clearly what we just discussed about the media expectations is a part of that. How are you planning to manage that? Because the other variable, human nature, being as it is, there are those older, accomplished ones who may look at this little whippersnapper coming up here, and he's getting all this visibility, all this attention. Any concern about that?
To be completely honest, the older guys on tour have been fantastic. I love to surround myself with those guys because they've been there, they've done that, they've dealt with every situation. A lot of them had that same kind of process as they turned pro. And one great example is Rod Pampling. He won the 2016 Shriners tournament. He and I work with the same swing coach, Alex Murray, and you know, he's a great guy because he knows everything that goes along with being a young professional, an older professional. He's played a ton with just about everyone, Tiger Woods, everyone. I listen more to those guys than anyone else. I watch what everyone does, but I love hearing what the older guys have to say. But yeah, I don't like to bring a ton of attention to myself, to be completely honest. I don't dress outrageously. I don't.
Oh, you mean you left your gold chains out in the green
Took
room
them off
there?
for this, just for today. But you know, that's just not really the. I don't really try to make a big deal about things, to be completely honest.
Where does fun come in the equation? Hold that thought. We're going to get your answer when we come back, because at the end of the day, you still want to have some fun. Can Maverick McNeely, with all the expectations, have fun? We'll find out when we come back.
Sometimes it's...
That's how you spell Zeam?
Z.
Are you sure?
It is. I'm positive.
Z-E-A-M?
My best cat called this guy, I was wearing overalls, and he goes, "Osh kosh, but oh my gosh."
There you go. Only comedy fans. You just pay, and a window opens, and I will do stand-up for you.
Put it in your mouth like this, and you smoke it, and blue smoke comes out of it, you see?
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Ram dealer today.
With Zeem, you can stream local news, sports, and events from all over the country. You don't need that celebrity spokesperson. But what you do need is a jingle. All right, here we go. Stream Zeem. Zeem, 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 Zeem. It's got to have a hook. Zeem, 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 Zeem. Zeem is home. Don't you snooze. Local news. Don't you stream it. Zeem it. I'm more of a drummer. Where's my Zeemers? What? I'll be quiet. Just show the logo. Free, 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 free. Zeem, 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 free.
I am here with Maverick McNeely, who qualified for the U.S. Open in 2014 at the age of 18 and has been in the spotlight ever since. When we went to commercial break, I talked about how you've got the process well described, delineated, denoted, however you want to describe it. Where does fun come into the equation?
Well, I love golf. Golf's really fun for me. The process, I think I'm not looking for fun. I'm looking for satisfaction, I think is more what I'm doing. The process of getting better is incredibly satisfying. If I find something that helps me hit the ball a little bit cleaner, or something that improves my swing mechanics a little bit, gets me playing a little bit better, that's incredibly satisfying. And I think some of the most fun I've had in my life is playing with my 3 younger brothers, playing golf with them in a family vacation. My mom, dad, and the 4 of us can play a sixsome in under 4 hours. My mom hits it 240 straight down the middle, and she never practices, so my dad says that's where I get my game from. But it's really fun. Some of our best memories are all family-based, playing golf and competing with each other in the best way.
Speaking of fun, you never got in trouble as a kid. You never did anything, never got a spanking, never got punished. Did you run out in your Sunday best and jump in the mud? What have you done that's been off the beaten path?
Here's a great story about growing up. Is we had a big window in kind of like a little exercise room around the back of the house. And I went to let the dog out of the dog run in the back of the house, and we went off to hockey practice or something. And we came back, and the window was shattered. And there was a screen door, so all the glass fell outside. My dad says, "Mav, did you break the window?" I said, "No, I didn't break the window." He said, "Well, you're 8, your brothers are 6, 4, and 2. They're not strong enough to break the window. Did you break the window?" I said, "I didn't break it." "Are you lying? Don't lie to me." I said, "I didn't break the window." He said, "All right." An hour later, sits down, "Maverick, we're really disappointed in you." It's like, "Dad, I didn't break the window. I'm 8 years old at this point. I didn't break it." Well, sure. So we keep going. Finally, it's bedtime. Mom and Dad sit me down one more time. They say, "Maverick, you've got one more chance. You are going to tell us, did you break the window?" I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "All right, go to bed. We're going to come in there in 30 minutes, and if you're not asleep, we're going to know you broke it because the guilt will be keeping you up." So, of course, I'm in there. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Oh, God, I'm not asleep. 10 minutes, 10 minutes left. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Oh, no, 2 minutes left. Come on, sleep. Oh, no, there they are. And I just break down crying, and, it kind of fizzles out. And then we go to a family vacation in Minnesota like we do every year. This is probably 4 or 5 months later. And we get back home, same thing, windows broken the exact same way. And
when you all came back to the house.
And there's a note on our door that says, "From the gardeners, we were mowing the lawn and the gravel path kicked up a gravel from the mower and it shattered the window. We're so sorry. Can we cover this?" Like, did I break that window, Dad? I didn't think so. So I've been acquitted of that since.
Did they apologize to you?
No, we just laugh about it.
They laughed about it and moved on.
It's funny. But I thought the best was go to sleep, and if you're still awake, we're going to know you broke it because the guilt's keeping you up.
Real quickly, any idea what your younger brothers might want to do with themselves or strengths that they're displaying?
They're all great. Dakota is a sophomore on the Stanford golf team. Colt is a freshman on the Stanford golf team, and he might be the smartest person I know. It freaks me out a little bit. And the youngest one, Scout, just committed to play for Baylor, a top 10 school in the country, for golf. So they're all the reason I practice so hard. But we grew up sleeping in the same bedroom, and we've been super close ever since then.
We will wrap up the interview with an impressive Maverick McNeely after this. While channeling his best Yogi Berra, Maverick McNeely said, quote, "I've learned so much and I still don't know what I don't know," end quote. I'm sure it's self-explanatory, but what did you mean by that?
I think a good way to answer that question is to talk about my freshman year at Stanford. And I was, I think, ranked 3,700 and something in the world. And I was on the Stanford team, and my goal was to qualify for 2 tournaments. That would have been a fantastic year for me. I exceeded my own expectations that way, and I think my coaches and my parents and everyone's that freshman year. But the attitude I took is everyone here on the Stanford team probably does something, at least one thing better than I do. And I set out to pick out what they did that was better than me and try and copy that, try and emulate that, and try and incorporate that. And how many pages did that take in your book? It's quite the book was one of those things I picked out. Cameron Wilson, who won the national championship that year individually, he wrote down every day what he learned from his day in a book. He wrote about a paragraph, practice, tournament, anything. And then Patrick Rogers, who is the #1 player in the country, player of the year, wrote down detailed statistics. He wrote down all of his shots and was a lot more analytical. And I said, those are both great ideas. I'm going to combine them and steal them. So that was exactly what that means by I don't know what I don't know. I'm just going to look around and try and learn from everyone else and see what they're doing. And you know, on the PGA Tour, these guys are fantastic. They're the best in the world at what they do, and there's so much to be learned from watching these guys.
So my colleague, Jim Nance, who I have such an immense amount of respect for, has been the voice of golf for CBS for a long time. Talk about when you met him. Any notes you've taken about Jim Nance that the world can hear about?
Smoothest voice on the planet. It's amazing. But I think one of the cool things about a guy like Jim, who has seen so much, he was telling us stories about calling Jack Nicklaus's putt on the way to his last Masters win, and he does a great job of capturing how special sports moments can be. And I keep bringing myself back to this. I'm an entertainer. I'm a sportsman. I'm playing sports to entertain other people and to hopefully do good. And a guy like him who brings that to life for so many people, in whether he's calling the Super Bowl or a completely different sporting event in the Masters, polar opposites. Making that special for people and making it something for people to rally around, I think just makes what the potential for being a sportsman so much greater. Like a guy like Arnold Palmer, who's one of my sports idols in all of the world, how much good he has done from his platform as a golfer. I think a guy like Jim Nance only enhances that by bringing it to a larger audience and making people really, really excited about it. So I think people like him are so fantastic for any sport.
Maverick, if you never do anything in the sport of golf, you have been a fantastic interview, and I've been blessed to have interviewed a number of people across a range of spectrums. What an awesome young man, but we know that the future is exceedingly bright. I'm glad I had a chance to talk with you, and I'm certainly very thankful that my audience got a chance to meet you as well. Continued success.
Appreciate it. Thanks again for having me.
The name is Maverick McNeely. We'll see you next week on another edition of The James Brown Show. Wow.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Ram dealer today.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
Well, folks, if you were in New York City in the late 60s and you happened to take a wild taxi ride, it is possible that your young driver then, today's guest, later became one of the all-time great race car drivers in America and abroad. This Kentuckian will forever be remembered for his thrilling spin and win victory in the 1985 Indianapolis 500, but he's as famous for being the first driver who understood that marketing can lead to top sponsorships and the best cars. My pleasure to welcome living legend, as we were teasing. Does that mean we're old or what? Mr. Danny Sullivan. Do you like living legend, venerable, iconic? What does that say to you?
I like it a lot better than old. But
No question.
JB, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, and a pleasure meeting you. And the only connection that I have to a race car driving, if you will, Danny, all I can do is turn a key. I can't do anything else. So I have big respect for all that you accomplished. When did you know that you wanted to pursue a career as a race car driver?
It really started as a whim. I'd read books and driven some cars that had a stick shift in them and things like that, a little Mini Cooper and a Triumph. And I liked driving. But the first time was when I got sent for my 21st birthday by my mentor, Dr. Frank Faulkner, to a school in England. And I sat down in the car, and of course it's a school, so they limit you to how fast you can go. And I drove around and I thought, this is it. This is everything I've ever wanted to do in life.
Seems to me there were some early experiences with the parents' car.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of take us through that and whether or not that percolated with you then as a youngster.
I always liked to drive, and my dad was pretty open about it, and we had a farm that we spent time on in Arkansas in the summertime, so I drove the pickup truck and the tractors and all that
About
stuff.
how old were you then?
13, 14.
Okay, go ahead.
So,
without a driver's license?
But
I
on a
missed that.
farm, you know, it was, hey, you had to
Absolutely.
drive. I drove a D9 Caterpillar back in the day, big bulldozer and so forth. But anyway, I used to sneak out the car. The babysitter was there and take it around, and unfortunately I got a little too creative and driving too fast, and they nabbed me one night, and luckily they didn't take me to the police station. They took me home to my dad, who was a volunteer fireman. So everybody knew everybody, you know, small community back then. And but they made a deal with my dad, okay, we'll let him go, but he couldn't get his driver's license till 6 months after I was of age.
Your father, the business, the family business, was what, and did they expect you to follow in those footsteps?
I think they did. My father was a general contractor. His father had been the general contractor before. His brother was in the business. You grew up in the same era that I did, you know, that late 60s. We're trying to make a decision on what we're going to do in life. I didn't want to go into the family construction business.
Did not?
I did not.
Even though it was successful?
It was successful, but it was just that time of unrest, you know, for all of us at that age.
What represented the unrest during that period that you and I share?
Vietnam. I think Vietnam was the big, and we had the draft hanging over us. Were we going to get called up? Were we going to go and be drafted and end up in Vietnam, and that wasn't exactly exciting for anybody. And I'd gone to military school, really didn't want to do it, not because I thought it was bad, I just didn't want to go to Vietnam. And I wasn't going to be a conscientious objector or anything like that. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. And luckily I ended up with a high lottery number and in the draft, and so I dropped out. And my dad said I had to go back to school, and that's when we separated and I went my own way. And you know, it worked out. But I got to tell you, it worked out, but I was one of the lucky few that it actually worked out for, because it took me 11 years before I had any success, real success, where I was actually getting a little bit of money, I was making away.
When we come back to continue our conversation with Danny Sullivan, we'll find out what was the catalyst, if you will, for him enjoying that kind of success. The legendary Danny Sullivan, back with more after this.
In a Jurassic world, every Jeep vehicle is Jurassic rated. Experience open-air freedom for all. Unsurpassed towing, no matter what it is. Or a third row to fit in all the adventure. Jeep, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Right now, get our best 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Jeep dealer today.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Ram dealer today.
I mentioned that before Danny Sullivan started racing cars in Europe and the U.S., he actually drove a taxi in New York. I want to hear more about that. Folks, he also supported himself by working as a lumberjack, a waiter, a janitor, a sod cutter, and even a chicken ranch hand. What did that period reflect about where you were attitudinally?
Well, I think what it really did was I'd been brought up that you have a really strong work ethic. And we had been driving an old car back up to New York and ran out of money. And we were in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, getting something to eat. I looked at my buddy and I said, we're broke. We can't put the money in the car. So we went around and found a job. And that's how it started. And you know, you'd work, get enough money so we could move on, go back to New York City. And I will say, when I worked on the chicken farm, though, I didn't eat a chicken or chicken soup or an egg for about 8 years after
because
it was not the it wasn't
wasn't
good,
pretty.
No, it wasn't pretty, but it was just an experience. But the one thing that I learned was you can always find work. It may not be what you want, but you can find work and make a
What
living.
a powerful lesson. And you talked about the work ethic being that which undergirded all of that. Any major lessons that you took from the various jobs that played a part in the success that you're enjoying now? Anything that was a takeaway?
Yeah, I didn't want to work in those jobs. I wanted to. No, but
That's
I mean,
a good lesson.
But you know, I realized, and I'm not knocking the people that work in those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I wanted to move up. I wanted to do something more. That was also what motivated me when I got into racing. You know, I have a little bit of success, then no sponsorship money, no success. You know, and it was just up and down. You know, you'd win a race, then you couldn't get in a good car for a while, and so forth. But it made me realize how bad I really wanted it.
What did you realize that you had that could help you to be successful and be an iconic name in racing?
I had been a gopher for a team through my mentor, Dr. Frank Faulkner, for the Tyrrell Formula One team, who had Jackie Stewart as their driver, three-time world champion, now Sir Jackie Stewart. And I got to know Jackie quite well, and I watched him and learned a lot from him. And he was the first really great sponsorship marketing guy. He's still, after I don't know how many years with Rolex, Goodyear, Ford, I mean, he had these brands with him for all the way through his entire career, and then after. But what he really made me realize is if I'm here with this driver and this driver and this driver, and we're all about the same talent, what sets me apart?
Mm-hmm.
I have to be better for the sponsor.
And that meant?
I had to be more savvy at marketing. I had to be friendly with people. Not that I had to. I like being friendly with people, but you had to be friendly. You had to be outgoing. You had to be somewhat social. Fans are what make the racing work. If we don't have the fans, so I was always a big one for signing the autographs and taking the pictures and doing that stuff. And a lot of that came from Sir Jackie Stewart. I mean, I just kind of watched what he did. But
did other drivers hold that against you, that you were, as we indicated in the lead, you were pretty savvy as a promoter, whether it's a PR team, taking notes from Jackie Stewart? Did others hold that against you because you were slightly ahead of your time in a general sense?
I don't know how many people held it against me. I think a lot of people thought that I was just doing the publicity to be a publicity hound, you know, that I liked I really did it because I wanted to make myself more viable for the sponsors. I'd gotten outside of just the racing fan base, which was the goal, was to make myself viable for all the public. So the sponsors were more attracted to me and would put the money up so I could go racing.
When we come back, I want to talk a bit more about the Indianapolis 500, also being recognized as Driver of the Year. We'll expound on that a bit more when we come back with Danny Sullivan after this.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. See your local Metro Detroit Ram dealer today.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
You know, one of the most iconic images in car racing history is Danny Sullivan's 400-degree spin out on lap 120 of the 1985 Indy 500. Check this out, folks. While going 220 miles per hour with another car riding on his car's rear end. Now, he has recalled, quote, "I'm spinning and throwing my lead away, assuming I'm going to hit the wall and my race is done. It was just anger I felt, not fear." Now, that is an interesting attitude. Take us back through that.
It was Mario Andretti that I was passing, and I'd just gotten in the lead of the Indianapolis 500, my first time leading the race, and I spun the car. I lost it. It was, I can go through all the technical, but it just, when it came off the apron onto the track, it just started to move around a little bit, and there's no real downforce on the cars because you're trying to go so fast down the straightaway, and so there's a minimal, and it just started to spin like a top, and I was like, you know, I can't say on there what I was thinking, but, and then spun, the smoke cleared, and I was facing the right direction. I was facing turn 2 sweets, and I thought, take your foot off the brake. I'm still in this, and Mario luckily missed me. I mean, he was, you know, obviously very skillful world champion himself, and got it back going and came back some laps later and passed him in the same spot. I can watch the footage and I still get goosebumps from watching it.
And you've seen it a million times. So Danny, as a layperson, you're hinting at a lot of the nomenclature, the vernacular, if you will, that's so unique to racing.
Right.
And all of this that happened, I'm sure, in the span of that amount of time. Talk about the skill set that you brought to the table that separated drivers, you in particular, at that level versus us lay people driving.
Well, I'd love to say this was all skill on that spin, but it was really, you know, there's a lot of luck involved in all this stuff, but I also had to have a cool enough head to say, wait a minute, I'm facing the right direction, take your foot off the brakes. And it's playing in my mind, even though it was a millisecond decision, it's playing in my mind the way it was right there. And you know, look, you were, you know, a great basketball player. You know, you're looking down court, you're seeing stuff, you're seeing a player come in from the side. You have a vision of what's going on, not just on the court, but kind of in the overall game. And the same thing when you drive the car, it's that vision and that calmness of going 220 or faster speeds.
Are race car drivers athletes in the same sense that we think about those out on the ball field or the ball court?
Definitely athletes. Take the Indianapolis 500. I had one of the fastest Indy 500s when I won it. They've done it faster now, but it was still 3 hours and 40 minutes. There's no break. There's no timeout. There's no halftime. You know, you make a mistake, there's not a 5-yard penalty. 100% focused. The cars, very physical to drive. You're inside 5 layers of suit that's fire retardant and so forth like that. Sometimes it's 130 degrees inside there, but your focus and your concentration and the strength that it takes to drive one of these things physically. It's not like a bench press type of a strength, but it's an isometric type of a strength, but it never stops.
Lest the viewers think I forgot to talk about some of the life lessons that you learn, we will come back and touch on that as we head down the last couple of segments. Or not quite the straightaway, but almost there. Danny will let me know whether or not that worked. Back with Danny Sullivan after this.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
So after winning the Indy 500 in 1985, Danny Sullivan appeared on all 3 national morning television shows, was featured in every major magazine, and embarked on an acting career. Roger Penske said, quote, even more than Danny Sullivan's win at the Indianapolis 500 or the kart championship he won with us in 1988, he changed the way people look at race car drivers and racing as a whole. That's really Danny's legacy. And we would add to that God's been good to you because you still have dashing good looks. So talk about how all of that played in terms of the things that you did, acting-wise, movies, friendships, the whole 9 yards.
It was really that whole thing of expanding my brand to make myself more viable for the sponsors. It sounds kind of mercenary, but that's really what it was about. Now don't misunderstand me, doing Miami Vice or some of All My Children or some of it was really fun. I did a movie with Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson. I mean, those were really fun. But as my sister said, don't give up your day job. But it expanded the brand. If I get people now that'll come up to the crowd and say, oh, we love the win at Indianapolis, or they come up and say, we love John Miami Vice. They might say they hated me, but I mean, but they say, so they know it from that. So it continued your brand.
Realizing that kind of international success brings with it a host of challenges prior to being married, Playboy style, enjoying life, if you will. What lesson or lessons did you learn going through that as well, too, in terms of success and the lures, temptations, the challenges that you're faced with then?
I think I met some fabulous people. I got to date some fabulous people, had good relationships with a lot of people. But I can tell you, and I think you know this too, when you find the right person, it just changes everything. And obviously she knew of my background. I mean, it had been publicized enough and so forth. Her brother said to her, what are you thinking? But it was just one of those things that when we met, that was it. That's all I wanted to do was be with her.
What about Brenda impressed you the most? What's the key to success in that critical area, marriage?
I think she's smart. Obviously attracted to her because you're not going to be, jump in with somebody that you're not attracted to. But she understood what I was going through. It was starting to be toward the end of my career in Indy cars. I got hurt. She was right there. helped me. It just was a bond. She accepted who I was, my past. You know, I hate to use the word soulmate, but we were just really good friends, and it just morphed from there and we were still together.
A key message also to pass along to some of the folks out there who are watching. What do you mean by relationships being so very important?
When you've had a career and there was a lot of glamour to it and a lot of exposure, a lot of doors being open, when the real world kind of comes back into play and you're trying to do it, you realize just how important all the people around you are.
Finding a meaningful next coming off of the unbelievable highs of a career that you had at the ultimate internationally, how difficult was it finding that next? What are you doing now?
I think it's very difficult for an athlete in general because you've put so much into your career, into your life. You're so focused like this. You know, you don't know anything other than what you've been doing, the racing. It's all consuming. And I think all professional sports are that way. I do drive some historic cars, but it's not the same thing. It's not at the same level. It's enjoyable, but it's not the same level. So you have to try to develop some other interest, if you like, as you go along.
Danny Sullivan, who is a broadcaster, mentor, businessman, and steward for Grand Prix events, continues to promote race car driving. So clearly you're still intimately, meaningfully involved in that which was your passion. I shared with you the story about Bill Bradley, who was a hero of mine, former congressman and presidential candidate, who saw a friend many years after college who wanted to be a trumpet player, but his family wanted him to go into the legal business. But he could tell all those years later he had the passion for that. You fulfilled yours. What was key? What life lesson can you pass on to others?
I think the key is to kind of follow your dream and have the passion, but you have to do it all in. You can't do it kind of, hey, I'm partially there. I wish I'd finished and gotten an education, college education, because
Hey everyone, I'm Jackie Purcell and we're live here on our digital desk just to give you a little bit of an update. I guess the biggest thing that we've learned here in the last couple of minutes is that Alaska Airlines is going to be at least suspending some flights to Honolulu at this point, canceling them for the meantime as a result of that large earthquake off the Kamchatka Peninsula today near Petropavlovsk, which has resulted in a tsunami warning for portions of the Aleutians. So this is a look at that earthquake that we were talking about, now considered to be the 7th largest earthquake ever at 8.8. Again, off the Kamchatka Peninsula near Petropavlovsk. So this is a fluid situation. We have a tsunami warning that is ongoing this evening, affecting parts of the Aleutians that stretches from Nikolsky, just southwest of Nikolsky, to Attu, to Adak, and Atka. That is the tsunami warning area. And also from Unalaska into the Alaska Peninsula, we have a tsunami advisory also still in effect this evening that also affects those coasts from Chignik Bay to Samalga Pass, and then becomes a warning past Samalga Pass. So we have had some tsunami wave observations to pass on to you, but I also want to warn you that a lot of times the initial waves that come through on tsunamis are not the largest waves. They can be a series of waves and can build. So Amchitka has seen less than a foot. It's been right at a foot sea level rise around Atka. Nikolsky also less than a foot, Unalaska less than a foot, St. Paul Island less than half a foot, and in Japan they have, at least in Hanasaki, Japan, a 1.1 foot level rise, and in Nikolsko, Russia, a 0.2 foot level rise. And I have read that there was a rise of as much as 1.6 feet at a northern Japan port. So as I mentioned, this is an ongoing situation. So here are some of the largest earthquakes recorded on the planet since we've had recording equipment to do so. The largest is that great Chilean earthquake from 1960. That was registered at a 9.5 magnitude, followed by Prince William Sound, Alaska, 9.2, then 64 quake here in Alaska. Then you go to Japan, the Andaman Islands, as well as Kamchatka Peninsula. That's a previous earthquake in 1952. The Cascadia earthquake from 1700. That's a long ago earthquake. And then, of course, today's earthquake that is still impacting a large portion of the Pacific, not just Alaska, but down to Hawaii. Hawaii, they have had some backups along their some of their roadways as people were trying to get to some higher ground. And this stretches as far south, even to New Zealand. That's what some of the dangers are. But as far as, well, now we're into the weather, but I'm not going to keep you in the weather. I do want to let you know that that is the latest update that we have. Again, Alaska Airlines suspending flights to Honolulu at this point. So if you have travel plans in the next couple of days, that is something that you will probably want to check into. So we will have the latest coming up within about an hour on our 10 o'clock broadcast and our late edition broadcast. So let's make sure that you check in with us at that point.
From the Accustats Arena at Caesars, Southern Indiana, welcome to the 2022 Derby City Classic and the All-Around Pocket Billiards Championship. Thank you. Thank you. Pool's most exciting event is sponsored by Diamond Billiard Products, by Simonis Cloth, and by Aramis Belgian Billiard Balls. We'd also like to express our thanks to OBQs, Master Chalk, and Outsville for their contributions, and also, lastly, recognizing our great tournament direction team from Bad Boys Billiards Productions. This is our 12th year here at the Caesars Southern Indiana, and we want to express our gratitude to them for being such great hosts and partners along the way. You know, our extended Derby City family now goes around the world, as we can see by the players that have assembled here, as well as all of our great spectators. Whether you're here, ringside, or watching at home, or anywhere else around the world, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much for making the Derby City Classic the most prestigious and popular event in professional pool. Thank you very much. We're in the bank pool semifinals. Here's a very quick recap. 370 players began. There are 3 players left. None of them have a rebuy. The player that got the bye, waiting for the winner of this match, is Fedor Gorst. He will play in the championship against the winner of this match at 9 o'clock tonight. Let's find out who it's going to be. From New Orleans, this gentleman's a U.S. Open one-pocket champion. He's sponsored by Game Tight Clothing and Buffalo Billiards. We know him as T-Rex. Please welcome Tony Chohan. His opponent from Glasgow, Scotland. He's a U.S. Open 9-ball champion. He also has a world record that I think everybody now knows about, and we'll talk more about that later in the evening. Sponsored by Perry Hughes, Kamui, and Rafson Tables. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Eagle Eye, Jason Shaw. Okay, here we go. At this time, it's my honor to send it upstairs to the commentary box, to Double J, Jeremy Jones, and to 8-time Hall of Famer in 5 different disciplines, Nick Varner. Take it away upstairs, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Kenny, and welcome everyone to the 2022 Derby City Classic semifinal of the Bank Division. We've completed one event with the Bigfoot Challenge. They bring the 9-foot in here for the Banks 1 pocket and 9-ball. And like Kenny said, a special guest, the Kentucky Colonel and Hall of Famer Nick Varner. What do you think, Nick?
Oh, I'm looking forward to this. This ought to be a fabulous match. Just don't anybody that's watching this at home go to the bathroom. You're liable to miss a whole match.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, this the Banks is like the epitome of the fast and loose a lot of times, especially when they seem to get into this table here. This table is kind of appetizing for offense, don't you think?
Yeah, just a little softer where they can
Yeah.
afford to gamble a little bit more on those long railers.
Yeah, and what I see are comebacks in games more. You know, like when guys get their back against the wall with the score, they tend to see one that they can see some future with, right, and take a little more chance. The break should be no problem. It's just all about the cue ball.
Well, if you get a chance to play one of those banks you're behind where you can hit that object ball close to the middle and you can stick and you got some other balls to play, yeah, you got to go.
Yeah. It's one of the sickest ways to get beat. You know, when it's Tony Fargo's done it to me twice here where I had him like 2-1 and dead, and he just jacked up off the end rail and I never shot again. With him stopping the ball for shape, and it's one of the most exciting things to watch as well. Now the guys think these are kind of like, they're always taking this long railer on the slidey table, right, Nick?
Yeah, you don't duck on this one. Well, of course, you just make sure you make it. But yeah, you could tell the way that ball went in. It's pretty generous with that cloth.
Yeah, and his stroke.
He caught quite a bit of rail there.
Oh yeah,
that long rail.
And it's a tight angle, you know what I mean. But the one thing that I've always found here at the Derby when I've played my best bank is like most shots are like that medium aggressive speed. Not overly hard, but definitely not babying them. You know, a little bit of speed on there.
Yeah, he hit that. I like the speed he hit that bank, and he's got a pretty good bank here.
Yeah. And dressing up on the 6, it looks like.
Yeah, he could run 5 and out here. Depends on where he falls after the 6.
I kind of like stunning this one behind the 5 myself. Yeah, he drew it a little bit. I didn't know if he'd get shaped that way. I thought he might stun behind and either get the 3 cross side, maybe the 8 cross side.
Well, he's got a pretty, except he might be jacked up a little. That 1 ball, he's laying pretty good on the 1, but he can't see all the cue ball. That's going to complicate it a little. But one good thing about it, he's not going to leave anything easy here, I don't think, if he don't make the 1.
Plus, you'd want a little the right side of the cue ball, if anything, on the 1. He's taking on the 4.
He's on the 4.
Yeah. This one should be somewhat light. Yeah, he's in stroke.
Wow.
And he disregarded the shape. And, you know, the thing is, right, I really kind of said it in the last match, and I still feel this, that no lead is really that great here. And not only just in ball count, but in game count. You know, you can get up 2-0 and think you can start to play a little tighter, and it's not really the case, I don't think. I don't think you can let up on the gas too much.
No, you can't, because I lost 1 year here. I was pretty deep at the end, and I thought I pretty well had the match. I was leading 2-0 and 3-0, and the guy made a 3-railer up and down that I didn't even know was possible because I was really protecting those 3 balls. Now, I didn't even know that ball would go. He made that, and after that, I never seen any banks.
Yeah. Well, I was commenting.
That was Larry Neville.
Yeah, well, that's a guy that can do it to you. Ooh, wow, awful kiss on the cue ball. And he broke great in his last match. Making balls just a bad kiss. And I gave Mark a little taste of, there was a situation with 2 balls on the spot in the last match. And the cue ball was in the middle of the end rail. One guy needed 1, the guy needed 2. And I told him I played Nick Varner to where he doesn't even shoot away here. He just taps the cue ball here and spots another ball, even playing banks, which is hard for a lot of guys to do, playing banks. One pocket, it's one thing, but banks is different.
You're not a kid, and 1 ball in bank is a lot. It's not like giving up a ball in 1 pocket.
Right, exactly.
You feel like a ball in 1 pocket is meaningless.
Yeah.
At least in the short term.
And I like him stopping the ball for shape. I think he was a pretty good favorite to make it, and it's kind of what it's going to take to win these matches is run a few banks. I like the 2 a little more than the 7 maybe, but.
Yeah, I like the 2 real well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even, I'd just make sure I make the 2. I'm not going to be trying to get too fancy on it. But
yeah.
See, he had to cut that 7 so much more. That's one thing. I like to go, as I mentioned earlier, I like to go for the bank where I'm hitting the center of the object ball.
Yeah, and you don't have a side rail. You know, you got the short rail there to slide the ball in. Excuse me, not a side rail, but a short rail on the bottom to slide the 2 in a bit, especially on this table.
And boy, those points on those sides are huge.
Yeah. Well, Diamond's always been known to have some of the toughest side pockets, that's for sure. And this may not be bad for Tony. Now, he's going offensive. I thought he might duck and try to slow the game down a little bit. Because you got to believe that Tony probably is a little edge when it comes to making, like, you know, 1 and safe kind of plays, right? Over, you know, if they both have to get to where they're kind of banking at 1 and playing safe, you got to think with Tony's 1 pocket, he's probably a little favorite in that spot, right?
Yeah, but he don't play very tight 1 pocket. I mean,
I know. You're right. That's why we got you in here, Nick. Good point. 4 cross corner looks pretty nice. I know the cross corners are the ones that.
Can he hold this with this? I guess he can.
This looks like it's going short to me, though. Oh, yeah, like that. That's what it looked like all day on that one. That looked pretty tough to me.
Yeah, plus he gave up a lot here on this 8.
Yeah, I think the 1 first. I think he's going to bank the 1
Oh, the 1 first?
Yeah. The 8's, I'm not saying a kiss, but you got to, oh, wow. So Tony's got to get used to the table.
One thing you learn after playing a lot of bank pools, there's not one that you can't miss. You think, oh, this is dead, I got this, and then you hit that chart just like Tony did there. There's no such thing as one you'd want to bet your life on. I know that. I don't care if you get to play them with your hand.
It's the most streaky game. Like if you play like not, you know, tournament pool, you don't play long enough matches really to see it. But if you play, you know, some side matches or whatever, I've never had the biggest streaks and swings and banks that like I have any other game. I mean, more in banks than any other game by far. And not only like wins and losses, but like, you know, you become unconscious sometimes banking them. Like you don't miss anything. Doesn't matter what it is. And then sometimes, like you said, a simple cross side can look like you're shooting at a thimble.
Well, just take ball in hand like on a spot shot.
Yeah.
I mean, not a spot shot, but like that 2 ball there on the spot. Just take ball in hand any place you want and play cross side.
Yeah.
That's no gimme.
Yeah, absolutely. There's certain players that make it seem that way sometimes. Brumback, I tell you, when he had a spell years here to where anytime he had you scratched, he was making that ball off the spot with ball in hand on the long rail.
Yeah.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
That's how you spell Zeam?
Z.
Are you sure?
It is. I'm positive.
Z-E-A-M?
My best cat call, this guy, I was wearing overalls, and he goes, "Osh kosh, but oh my gosh."
There you go. Only comedy fans. You would just pay, and a window opens, and I will do stand-up for you.
Put it in your mouth like this, and you smoke it, and the blue smoke comes out of it, you see?
Well, my experience over the years, the long railers, you're better off leaving them across side.
Especially, with Brumback, you mean, yeah.
Or any of those great bankers.
Especially here, the way the tables play, it seems like to me. They really, like it was some players were commenting about the guy we're going to see in the next match, Fedor Gorst. You're better off leaving him cross corners, cross sides than long railers, so.
Yeah, where are all my buddies from Kentucky? You got a guy from Russia, a guy from Scotland, and a guy from California.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what Banks is. It's all, it's stroke, first off. You never ever catch a great bank player that doesn't have a good stroke. So these great 9-ball players have great strokes. They're just going to figure out the game and get better and better. That's the speed I like right there, just to miss the mark.
Yeah, that was smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched the entire run. He run 7:14, and man, I was amazed what a great touch and feel he's got. I would have thought he'd be one of those guys that hits the back of the pocket, but he's really not. He hits them a nice medium to soft speed. He's got a great feel for that cue ball too, for where it's going.
Yeah, and he's, the guy he reminds me of, and maybe no coincidence, they're both lefties. But he has all the power in the world, too, but as a Rodney Morris when Rodney really was in stroke. Jason plays these unorthodox safeties sometimes that are all just skill-based, like talent-based, which Rodney used to do and kind of baffle you a little bit when he'd win those tournaments back in the mid and late 90s, Reminds me of that guy a lot. Little different stroke, of course.
It is something. Lefties
nice shot.
It always amazes me how good lefties look at the table, don't it? They look like they can play as soon as they take their stance.
Yeah, it's like they're going to strike the cue ball perfect every time.
Mizrak, Segal, I've looked at them guys from my chair so many times.
Matlock comes to mind, too, a guy that looks real crisp at the table as a lefty. Well, Mizrak, in my mind, I don't think I've ever seen a better stroke. And don't take that personal, any of y'all, but the bridge and the stroke. I don't think I've ever seen a better bridge, closed bridge, and I don't think I've ever seen a better stroke myself.
No, I think I don't know why, but, man, when I watched him play, he put me in stroke just watching him from the chair. He got through that white ball so good.
Oh, man.
It was, I agree with you 100% on his stroke. It was incredible.
Well, look at the behind the back. Tony starting to feel a little good, and don't think that doesn't matter. Tony feels good. He's a tough hombre. Behind the back there, Nick.
Yeah, for the long railer, and then missed that one.
Yeah.
How's that figure, huh?
Yeah, like you said, you can't think you ever have it.
I don't know if there's 6 stretches.
No, but the 4, 4 is pretty decent as long as you don't overhit it. You overhit it, goes long on this table. It's just not going to bite.
I think I'd have to play the 4 here. Which one do you like? The 4?
I like the 4 better myself. The 2 does cross at a lighter speed. Maybe the 7 does. Oh, if he can get at the 7's definitely the shot.
No, I don't think he can get to that one.
He passed on this one earlier.
I like this one.
Yeah.
I know this goes.
And that's the speed. If you overhit it, it hops a little, and it really goes long on this slick table.
Well, it gets away from you both ways, short and long.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to kill this maybe. He's got to watch out for the cue ball a little bit. Good thing is, only ball you can really give up is the 6 here, it looks like. That's the only ball you got to worry about, which is a worry.
Yeah, it sure is. I wouldn't want Shannon Dalton shooting at this one.
Yeah. Talked about him the other day. Man, what a player.
If I had him in the middle of that short rail there, I froze on the rail, then I wouldn't be so worried. But out here where he can bridge on this ball, this is laying pretty good. But he don't like it. He likes something else. I guess that one, he might think that one.
Straight back?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he's trying to cross it.
Yeah, he was. And kill the cue ball.
I like the 6 here, cross corner.
It looks like it's not a kiss with just stun, and it should turn right over. You know what I mean? I totally agree. On this table right here, again, as long as you don't overhit it, little downward hit on the cue ball. I don't think he sees it. He's just assuming it's not a play.
He thinks it's a kiss, maybe.
Right.
Because he ain't even looked at it.
If he goes and looks behind the cue ball, behind the cue ball at the 6, he'll realize it's not a kiss.
Well, if it's close, you just put a little left on the cue ball, and that'll take it away from it more.
I don't think you can kiss it. Look how much further away the 6 is from the side rail than the 6 is from the bottom rail. That's a hard 1-2 kiss.
Oh,
Never
wow.
mind. Never mind.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm up here in the booth.
Yeah, but I was looking around. You got your picture on some banners. Don't worry. You're always here, Nick. Yeah, all 9 days of the event. Okay.
Well, I love the banks in the one pocket. I come every year for that. Try to catch you into the banks and into the one pocket.
Yeah, and this is a big shot here. This one here with a 1-0 lead, he trails by a ball. It's the type, even if he hits it good, even on this table, he could bobble it. Oh, he cut it too much. So he's going to give up something probably. Yeah, did okay.
Yeah, he might have left something, but Tony's going to have to earn it here.
Yeah, nothing.
I kind of like playing either the 7 cross side or the. Yeah, I sure don't like the 6 from here.
No, I would double bank the 2 before I bank the 6.
Yeah.
I think I like the 7 the best though. Like you
might
said.
be able to spin this 2 in cross corner.
He can. It'll spread straight English, I think. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
And Tony's like one of the best at those shots, by the way. He really sees them well.
This, see.
I mean,
What's
either
the
way.
ball count here?
He needs 1, Tony.
Tony needs 1?
Yeah, I think the 6 is the shot. I mean, you got to avoid the 1, of course, but you got to do that with the 7 also. I think the 6 lays a little better.
I like the speed he hit that. That's the speed I would have hit it. He didn't make it, but that's the speed I like here because he might be able to make that 7, but boy, that 1's kind of blocking part of that path.
Yeah, and this is super touchy. He's got to really give up the cue ball with a lot of spin if he's going to pass the 7, I think. I think he's got to put some inside on it. And then looking at the overhead, which we have the advantage of, he can definitely cross it, but he needs a little inside.
I think all he can do here is cross it and just roll it so he gets back for another shot. Oh, wow. I'm not used to seeing that shot.
Well, I guess you just make the 1. Well, this cue ball's gotten funny. Can he make the 1 and bring him down, or is the 6 easy to make with the cue ball right now?
He might go rail first and hit a full.
Double kiss it, maybe? Lay on top of it?
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to. That'll work.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Because Tony can't afford to try to knock anything in, because if he does, then there's going to be 2 balls on the spot, and he's going to be in the jackpot, a lot of people think they're stealing here because there's 2 balls in the hole. But, boy, if you don't want to knock one in if you're ahead. Now, Jason's on the opposite. He wants to knock them in if he can lay it tough enough where he can't make the bank. But I've done this when I was learning to play bank a million times.
Look at this.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
He corner hooked him.
That's cold. Shouldn't be allowed almost.
Wow.
What a shot. So we're going to back it up a little bit here, I think. Tony's got to probably take a foul. He could kick at it, I guess.
Yeah, I'd just take a foul here because Jason's got it. Then he has to answer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's behind further, right? So he's either got to kick away or now he's going to give up a shot here.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. But.
Yeah, his make speed is a little probably more than he wants, meaning as far as he can't guard the cue ball, but sure does make it at a pretty high rate, right? Decent, 6, 7 out of 10.
I might even play the 6 in that.
Got to shoot it there, right?
Yeah.
It was just laying too nice not to shoot it.
Yeah.
He's still going to give up the first shot.
Yeah.
Good speed on the cue ball. Really good speed on the cue ball. And almost put it to where the straight backs, he's got to hit it so clean if he wants to play it to his left.
Yeah.
Like he could easily sell out playing it to his left. I mean, you can sell out both ways, but usually they bank him back underneath him here, right?
Yeah, most of the bank players play it in the...
Where he's standing?
Yeah.
Got to hit it dead straight if he's going to bank it the other way. Oh, he played 3 rail on the side, 4 in the corner.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, get our best 2025 Ram 1500 deals of the season during the Make This the Summer event. Hurry into your local Ram dealer today.
He must have been trying to play a 1 rail, huh? Just caught it fat.
I think he was playing a 4 rail maybe. I don't know. He sure did put a lot of speed on it. I think if he was playing the 1 railer, he would have probably rolled it more. That 3 in the side shot, though, looked pretty good. Kim Davenport made that on me in the final of the Reno Sands. Hill
wow.
On the 8 to get shape on the 9. I had him dead to rights, and he played it. What a shot. So Shaw with the corner hook turned the game around.
Yeah, wow, that was huge. That was huge there, the corner hook. I believe you have to take a foul there. I just don't.
Yeah,
especially
now,
with that score.
Yeah. Now, do you wait once? Do you just take the foul on the corner hook there, and then if he fouls back, do you roll out at some time to the middle of the end rail? What's your strategy there? Do you roll out immediately to the end rail, Nick, or where you both need two, or?
No, I'm going to leave him there and drag him down a little further
yeah,
away. And,
yeah, exactly.
And then I'll probably roll it to the middle of the table.
He might roll it. You never know, right?
Yeah.
And this is another reason why you got to stay pretty aggressive. You got to stay smart with it, but it is winter break, you know. So if Tony Tony gets a game on the board, right, he can get to going. He's got a long railer on the 7. The 2's awfully hard to pass up on.
I couldn't pass the 2 up here. I love this shot.
I always say just stay heavy on it. It's going to use the bottom rail a little bit. See, cut it a little. You got to force yourself with the clean conditions.
Yeah, you got to hit that fat.
Yeah.
You got no chance when it comes short.
Yeah, and the slick conditions, it just doesn't grab that cut-induced English, I think is what they call it. It doesn't grab like your pool room table and turn over. Now, I know me and you both like the 9. I think it's a pretty doable bank.
Yeah. Oh, the 3's okay too.
Just to his left, or
the 7's okay too. He's got a lot of choices here. The 1 ball to the.
Tony's so good at this shot at the 9, though. I mean, as long as he doesn't overhit it, it's gonna grab. Now he shoots them different than I do. When I shoot the 9, I don't put a whole lot of inside, maybe a quarter tip. I just hit down on the ball to make it grab a little bit.
Just cut it to get the spin.
Exactly, yeah.
Just guess how much you got to cut it. Yeah, I don't like to use much English. I bet you got to hit a little firmer. You can't roll it that way so much. But
yeah, it's like a medium-ish, right? You don't have to crush it, but you gotta get it to twist a little bit.
You got to make it turn.
Yeah.
You know, if you hit it too soft, it won't turn.
Yeah. What I've always found is a downward angle on my cue stick makes it grab a little bit more for me anyways. Almost, I don't know what it is.
Anytime you aim below center of the cue ball, you're going to
create more
magnify
grab.
Whatever's going on, whether you hit the white and get too much English and then miss the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Anytime you go below the center, you better hit it better because, well, on a lot of frozen balls where they got to go the maximum, where you got a couple balls frozen, you always go below center to try to get more turn.
Right. 2 railer on the 2, maybe slides by the 8.
Yeah, I like that. 2 in the corner. It's laying pretty good too.
Yeah, you can be aggressive with it too. Don't roll it too much.
He caught that tit.
The table.
I think he caught that upper point.
Now, one thing, Jason spent a lot of time on the 10-footer, which will get you in stroke first off after 9,000 plus balls playing straight pool last week. But not only that, but what I was going to get at is these tournament, the TV conditions here, right? They're a little different than the outer tables, and you got to say that Jason has definitely spent more time on these types of tables than Tony has, right, as a whole?
Yeah.
So he's going to understand the slick table a little bit more probably. Tony's good at it, though. First big mistake from Jason. What do you like here? He's just going to go at the 9? I didn't think it went. The 2 ball cross corner?
I think I'd go for the 2.
Same thing. Stay thick. Nice shot.
Yeah, that's dead center. My bad thing now, you get to hit the side of the stack is what I'm thinking. And come back up. We're running high here.
Yeah, right. Now, you try to get the cue ball, on his left side of that in rail, right, to make it tough to run the ball again. So a little bit of right here. Don't threaten the scratch or nothing, but coming off the 4, a little bit of high right. He's crossing the 8. Watch out for the cue ball, 2 rails. Oh, wow, what a hit.
Oh, man.
Look at the cue ball speed,
was tight.
too.
Did you see how close it came to that 1 ball? Wow.
And he shot it with straight low center and drew the ball and created that line on the cue ball, which was really nice.
What a great hit that was.
Super sweet. Got to take your medicine here, though. Well, maybe not. 3 rails on the 7? 3 rails on the 7. It's got to be the 7, right?
Yeah. I think it's going to come short. Yeah, I like this better.
Yeah.
One trick shot's enough at a time.
He made 2.
Yeah, really.
He made a great long railer. So, and I would certainly be looking to slow Jason down a little bit. I'm not saying you can do a whole lot in a race to 3, but you can definitely get control of the tempo a little bit of the match. He's thinking this goes. Oh, wow. Can't slow him down, huh? 9 balls, pretty nice.
No.
3 balls, pretty nice. Now, are you holding position for the 5 here, Nick? Coming out for the 5? Off the 9, I was thinking.
Off the 9.
Yeah.
Well, I like the 7 better myself.
Oh, I thought it wasn't bankable at first.
Maybe it isn't, but
that's definitely the shot if it's bankable.
I guess he's not shooting it, but I like the 9 better than this one.
Yeah, I thought so too.
But this is safer.
Yeah, I don't know at that speed, but he figures to at least hit the pocket, I guess, right? This one's.
I guess it's only safe if it goes in.
Yeah, right, or bobbles the pocket.
And
now he can cross this. That goes cross side pretty nicely. The 7. Cue ball drags 2 rails up the table. This is a hard one to pinch.
Stick this one. Oh no, he's going 4 rails, isn't he? Well, that's a little bit more defensive oriented there.
Yeah, got paying the ball he owes.
Well, the ball counts.
2 apiece. Well, can't be 2 apiece. There's 6 on the table. 2-1, excuse me. Shaw owed 1.
3 in the corner here.
Yeah, he's really dressing the cue ball up for a 3 railer. He was trying to maybe draw it higher, I guess.
This is where you can lose a lot of matches if you catch the point here.
He can win with it, though, too, right?
Yeah.
So there is some value for sure.
Well, you got to shoot it because you probably you might have a chance to get out if it goes.
I don't think I mess with the 1 if there's any doubt here. If you look at your screen right there, to your right there, Nick, look at the 1. He's got to cut it quite a bit. He's got to cut the 1 quite a bit by the 9.
That's
right?
too much.
Yeah.
You got to hope it. You got to hope that it grabs. If it don't, you're dead meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go. He knows there's those points on the side are big. He's not racing up there to play this 3.
He's not even gonna.
Oh, he's ducking almost.
He's gonna bank the
He
7
showed
next.
plenty of respect for that cross side, and most people think you never miss those.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's like I don't know, kind of like his regular 9-ball game or rotation game is just improving in all kinds of ways, you know. How you like that firepower with a little resolve as well?
Yeah.
That's a tough combination. Cross corner, he's going to make it bite a little bit, so watch out for the cue ball. He slows the ball down so well, that being the cue ball. I don't know if I know it's his stroke is so really nice, but that weighted cue, the big cue, I don't know if that has something to do with it as well.
Well, Maverick used to claim that you had better touch and feel with a 21 ounce than a 19 ounce, that he said you could control the speed so much better with a heavier cue.
Wow. Well, he's a pretty sharp guy, so.
Yeah, real smart.
Okay, you can see the ball count, 2 away from advancing to the finals, so can't draw the ball back on this one. Maybe he is. He's really showing off here.
I don't like sticking there. He looks
No.
like the best thing.
He's lost
maybe
the rock.
best.